Call 800-NEW-KIAs or visit online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com. Qualified applicants through KFA, 24-month lease, $34.99 due at signing, 10,000 miles per year, 0 security deposit required, plus tax tag and $9.99 admin fee. Negative equity refinanced. 90 days deferred payments. Interest accrues from date of purchase. Discount includes all factory rebates to dealer. Offers don't combine. Expires 11/5/24.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach, extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees in the heart of South Florida. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 20 national championships, including the 2024 Women's Swimming and Diving Championship and 2023 football, lacrosse, and men's swimming and diving titles. Visit KUSeahawks.com for the latest.
ESPN 106.3 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law. Call 1-800-FL-LEGAL and visit one of our offices throughout Florida.
Good people, it's Theo Dorsey. Spring Training 2025 at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium is approaching pretty quickly. Season tickets, mini plans, and group tickets are now available for the St. Louis Cardinals and Miami Marlins 2025 Spring Training games. Individual tickets go on sale November 19th. Visit our website at RogerDeanChevroletStadium.com or stop on by the ticket office. We can't wait to see you at the ballpark in 2025.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy!
Light him up, Colin!
We got a fun one in store today on a Friday edition of Russo and Rizzo live here at ESPN 106.3 from the City Place Studios right here in West Palm Beach. Hi, everybody. Colin Russo here. Join alongside me. I got Rizzo squared right in front of me. I got, of course, Mike Rizzo and the great Tony Rizzo, Mike's father, joining us now from the really big show over at ESPN Cleveland. You can listen to that 9 to 1 Eastern on the ESPN Cleveland airwaves, weekdays. Mr. Rizzo, thank you for joining us. Well, welcome.
Colin, it is a pleasure to be here, and the sheer amount of testosterone right now in this studio is amazing, absolutely amazing.
It is incredible. And so, you've seen this studio before, right? In
I was
West
here.
Palm Beach.
Uncle Steve, as you guys like to call him, brought me down here years ago before they built City Place, and told me what they were doing. And you guys are so lucky to be here. This is a fantastic facility.
Oh, we're incredibly blessed. And it's a Friday edition. We're going to have Tony joining us for the first hour today, so we've got a whole lot to do. I want to get into what's going on with you and Mike. But let me ask you this. So, Mike, Mike's swimming. He's basically in the pool right now at West Palm with us doing the show every day. It's a little different when you're coming to visit. You don't really know what's going on. Let me get a feel. You're coming to visit Mike now. This is no Peoria, Illinois.
Let's call it
like
I
we
do
see
want
it.
to say, my dad was the only one who ever came to visit me in Peoria.
Nobody else wanted to come. Now he's the hot spot. Now he's the hot spot.
Exactly.
They took good care of Mike in Peoria.
Oh,
yeah,
of
it's
course.
a great station.
Yeah, they did.
Of course.
Out there. I want to thank Jimmy, who we did the show with for years. But yeah, you guys are in the big time right now, man. You are.
I'm talking about location. Tony, you got a full. It's November, and we got a full tan going already.
It only takes me a couple days. I'm Sicilian.
He's never
40.
Sicilian.
Of course.
Come on.
You've walked 40 minutes down the street, and you got a full tan going. That's
never
how it
met a
goes.
son he never liked. He takes after my grandfather in the sense of it doesn't matter what. It could be 60 degrees here in Florida. He'd be laying in the sun.
Came here from the pool to be with you guys. I hope you.
Well, yeah.
I
So
hope
he
you
dragged you
appreciate
away from the pool. You were on pool duty.
I told I told you guys a story yesterday. He lands. He texts me. He lands. I don't hear from him for like 4 hours. I call him like, Dad, everything all right? What? I'm at the pool.
Poolside.
Okay.
This is one of those things where you're coming to West Palm to enjoy the weather, enjoy the pool, enjoy yourself, have a good time. And Mike is just a little add-on that you'll squeeze in an hour or two here and there for Mike.
Mike's grandfather would say he's white as a ghost right now. You need some
what's
sun,
going on with
Michael.
that? He doesn't have any sun right now.
No sun.
Got to get some sun.
And we were talking about the haircuts, too. Mike's hair looks good today.
Yeah.
But it usually is in front, and he was talking about how he needs a haircut, but he doesn't trust any barbers out here.
Well, we come from a long line of barbers.
Yeah, my grandfather owned a shop years ago in Cleveland. Mike, you're going to have to get a barber down here. Who's your barber?
So here's how I did it. I went to Reddit online, and I found a barber that way.
Okay.
And that, to me, I wanted to find a different route in order to get it, because it's all like word of mouth, and there's not enough people that have barber recs. There's only one guy that people recommend from this
Correct.
office.
And it's like the haircuts at like 9 p.m.
Don't
on
trust
a weekday.
it. Don't trust
I'm
it.
with
That's so I found a guy up in Jupiter. I've only been once, so there's not a huge camaraderie there yet. But I do like my barber. I offered it to Mike, but I think Mike is waiting to find his.
I honest to God, I'm waiting until I go home to Ben.
Oh, Mike.
I got 3 weeks out. I didn't wait until I get home to Benny. He'll hook it up.
That's 4 months. That's a lot of luck.
It's okay.
All right. And Tony, of course, on the really big show, you guys are covering Cleveland sports. I'm sure you do Browns to the cows come home. And I'll tell you, let's do this really quickly, because I know we got to get this out of the system. The Browns are a complete disaster.
A dumpster fire.
I've heard it from Mike, but you cover it every day.
Yeah, their roster is overrated. It's old. It's expensive. This whole year has been a nightmare. And guys, I'm going to tell you something. I'm starting to hear there are going to be some big changes at the end of this year.
And what was the expectation for you personally going into the year?
Well, playoffs for sure. And not just for me, but for the whole fan base. This was an all-in year for the Browns, and they totally choked.
Yeah. And Stefanski surviving or no?
We'll see. We'll see.
It's unbelievable to me.
I'm going to tell you something.
The one head coach.
That's
the one head coach I've seen in my lifetime.
Who are you going to get to replace him?
Well, there's a guy in the building who's pretty good.
Okay.
Mike Vrabel is a consultant.
We got to put him on ice for the Buckeye job when
Mike.
Ryan Day gets fired.
Mike,
So
come on.
let's jump to this really quickly. I've never met a bigger doomsdayer in my entire life when it comes to a sports team than Mike Rizzo and the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're playing Penn State, and he's making Penn State out to be the 95 Nebraska team. And this Penn State team, they stink.
Yeah.
They stink.
How about down the stretch?
They're a good team.
James Franklin. So he texts me at 12:30. The game started at noon. He goes, ball game. It's over, Dad.
Texted me
Mike,
the same
come
thing.
on.
Well, he texted me the same thing. I'm like, Mike, there's been a drive and a half.
Well, Will Howard, in my defense, Will Howard, I know he had that big game against Oregon. I had a bad taste in my mouth of Will Howard, and the first throw he makes is a pick six.
It's ugly.
And
I agree with that.
And they still won. And they overcame
If there's anybody who can't win a big game, I understand Day's in that category, but if there's the king of the castle in that category, it's James Franklin.
That's right. That was your saving grace. He made some. They could have won that game easily, Penn State.
They're at home.
Yeah.
They're at home.
Igbinosin's pick at the end of the half was huge.
The quarterback's not good.
Aller's
not that
Aller's
good.
a Medina kid.
He's from Cleveland.
Yeah, I told him. I covered him
He's
with
not
Matt
that good.
Fontana and Hysteria years ago. But the Igbinosin pick, the stop at the goal line, that's character by the Ohio State defense, and they showed me something. But Ryan Day, I still question if he could do it against the Georgias, against the big SEC teams, even Texas now. I know they haven't had a good win all year.
He was a step away from Oregon. He was a step away.
Yeah, well, he didn't run the football. He decided to throw to a freshman wide receiver.
See this?
Left a timeout on the board.
To the number one team in the country on the road
On the
at
road
night
in
by
their
1
building.
point
In their building,
house.
and they handed them about 2 possessions in
They
that game.
handed him the game, and that's what Ryan Day does.
So which is it?
Let's not forget. All right, this is the last thing I'll go on Ryan
they
Day.
slip,
Let's not forget.
Colin knows how to get you going. I'll tell you that.
Dad,
right.
up 2 scores against Georgia. 6 minutes left in the game, and you lose. How is that possible? How is that possible?
Georgia was pretty good.
Come on.
Yeah.
And we
Could've had
weren't.
that game.
And the Buckeyes weren't.
Good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I think they're in good shape. What are they, number 2 in the rankings? At what point do we say, you know what, this team's doing pretty well, Mike?
Yeah.
Tony Rizzo.
Colin, you think Indiana's
I
bee's knees.
Oh, they're coach.
Oh, you're in too?
I'm going to tell you something.
Totally in.
I gotta
He
see
has
it to
been
believe it.
hating
Big
Mike.
Netty?
Oh, I'm in.
I'm telling
He's
you,
gonna
that
get
kid
calls.
knows.
He's going to get calls.
Mike, I like that guy.
Come on.
He's not going to be at Indiana
Oh,
long.
100%. 100% agree. Finally, somebody with some sense around here. Mike hates Kurt Signetti
It's
for
not that I
Indiana.
hate them. I don't buy them. They haven't played anybody. Their best win is Washington.
They're in the playoff right
And
now.
they-
If I'd have told you Indiana
Right?
in the playoff.
They didn't fill the
best
stadium
win is
until.
guys.
Hold on, they didn't fill the stadium until 3 weeks ago, and they've throttled everybody.
Their best win
that's
is
not going to be an easy
Washington.
game because that's their Super Bowl game.
They did not fill the stadium.
Well,
the coach
you know
had
what
to
he
come
did?
out and invite the
Signetti,
student.
He penned the student body, and he had the administrators send it out to all the students saying, "Get in that stadium, spill it. We need you. And now all of a sudden they're filling every game. How about that?
Unbelievable. Hey,
Not a
I'm
lot of
happy
coaches
for the
would do that.
program. Yeah, they're going to get beat by the Buckeyes, though. Yeah.
Easy?
Yeah. No.
That's not going to be an easy. They're going to come out and buy on that. That's their Super Bowl.
Nothing's easy for the Buckeyes.
You're really right on that. Honestly.
Tony Rizzo, the Really Big Show from ESPN Cleveland, joining the show now on Russo and Rizzo. Of course, Mike Rizzo, Colin Rizzo, Christian Cata helping us out behind the glass as always. Let me ask you this. Your relationship with you and Mike, when did you know that Mike had a knack for on-air, talking, voice, loud? When did you know he was cut from the same cloth as you?
When he was 6. And Colin, I'm sure your dad said the same thing. I told him, don't go into this business. Go into any other business.
Stay away.
Go into banking. Go into anything you want.
Watch cars for all I care. Yeah.
His brother and sister work for NBA and NHL teams. And Mike wanted to do the broadcasting. I tried hard as I could, but it was definitely his passion. Absolutely. I mean, how'd you wind up here? Come on. You know.
I guess it was I don't know. It just kind of happened. I don't really know. You just you start arguing with people and you're like, this is fun.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I always wanted to do it. Watching him on the Fox 8 News at night, stay up until 10 o'clock, watching. And then obviously with the radio stuff. Now, Dad, you were on radio before.
Oh, yeah.
You were on radio before.
And funny story, I had to listen to, they bought sports stations. I was doing a big morning show and I was a sports guy with John Landon, legendary guy. And I was his sports guy. So they buy this sports station. They want to turn it into sports talk. I'm like, sports talk? I had to listen to I had to listen to Mike and the Mad Dog to figure out what the hell sports talk was. It was a new format. Not a lot of people knew how to do it.
Yeah.
And the people that were doing it in New York were the best. And we listened to them, did it for like 3.5 years there, then went and did the TV anchor thing. And then when Craig brought WKNR, Craig Karmazin, Good Karma, I went to work for him.
So how would you say the difference really is between doing the TV anchor stuff and sort of the on-camera versus the radio? There's a little bit more freedom.
Radio's way more intimate.
It's way more intimate.
It is. You are talking directly to someone. On TV, you guys will do TV. You're young. You're both good-looking Italian kids. You'll be all right. You're going to do it. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
Pays a little better, but it's nowhere near as much fun.
No, nowhere near as much fun. And so would you agree with this, 6 years old, that this was a moment for you, Mike, where you're like, I want to follow this? Was there any sort of doubt?
Honestly, it was high school for me.
It was no doubt?
It was high school for me when I realized when I would talk sports with someone that I would just completely dominate the conversation and kind of get my point across.
Imagine that.
Get my point across to the point where someone just goes, all right, man. Like
this is not fun. Back off.
Exactly, like kind of like that. So, but and then I got to shout out Toby Cook, who was the soccer coach at Strongsville High and my guidance counselor. He really pinned down. He goes, Mike, we got to figure out what you want to do and this and that. And I told him, I'm like, you know what, broadcasting. And then after that, I made steps to make sure that I would get to where I needed to be.
And Mike, of course, was jumping around. He had, of course, Ohio U and Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Were you an Ohio State guy
Tri-State.
before Mike was there?
I went to Ohio State to be a dentist.
You went to Ohio State as well.
To be a dentist.
Wow. And
in the fall of 1979, how about this? 10-0, Rose Bowl, we lose to USC by a point. Charles White, game-winning drive. My freshman year.
Still wake up in a cold sweat about that game?
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Thought we were national champs. My first year of college.
I tried telling you guys, man, I come from a long line of Buckeye fans. So, that's why the thing that makes me upset, my older brother is not an Ohio State fan, and it drives me crazy. Joe did not get the Ohio State.
Is he the contrarian of the family?
Yes, definitely. But he loves his Cleveland sports. But when it comes to Ohio State, he is the biggest troll that you could possibly have with the Buckeyes.
Like riling you two up.
Oh, my God.
You got to let it happen. Who's got all right, so you got the 3 kids. They all work in sports.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, Colin. I can't imagine.
And so in terms of, Mike, you're the middle child, right?
Correct. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, is there a little bit of, you got to tune everybody up, right? Yeah, you got to make a name for yourself.
Makes sense, right? Yeah.
And so coming from Cleveland, of course, you're in the local medium. Yeah. West Palm, I'm sure you've gotten a feel. This is a melting pot of sort of everywhere. There's New Yorkers here. There's people from the Midwest. There's Philly. There's D.C. It's a lot different than covering, sports on a local medium. And I know you haven't been here for too long and not haven't necessarily worked in this market, but this has been a different type of situation for Mike and I doing a show
I asked
where
you
could jump around.
Yeah, I asked you, who do they root for? Everybody.
knows?
Yeah,
Nobody knows.
We don't know.
At home, there's no question.
And even you can't just back off to Florida because there's 900 Florida teams.
And to Colin's point, doing radio in Peoria for 3 years was the Bears. So I went from the Browns, I went to the Bears.
Out of the frying pan into the fire, Mike.
Yeah.
That's the way you look at it.
Exactly.
So isn't that absurd though? Like Florida, Miami, Florida State, or University of Florida.
Yeah.
And they're all wildly different fan bases with wildly different
I
trajectories.
got to say, I think the Florida State fandom, I don't know if it's because they've been good. Like I know Miami's the best team this year, but I've met more Florida State people. I got to say, I've met way more Florida State people than Miami and or Florida. But then our GM, Stephanie Prince, said, Florida was huge when they had Tebow and Urban.
Yeah.
I feel like it's whoever's good at the moment.
It might be a little fair weather.
The fans come out and be loud when they're good.
Is it more college than pro?
Yeah.
For football?
I would say so.
Oh, my
Football,
God, Dad.
yeah.
Not even close.
Did you see the Dolphin game 2 weeks ago? What was that, against the Patriots, something like that? There was nobody there.
No one's there.
They had nobody there.
No one's there.
Talk about even the Browns fans. The Brown games had more than the Dolphin games. It was absurd. And so there's a level to that where the pro team, it's like you've heard the stories about the Miami sports fan. Yeah. The Heat game, leaving early in 2013. Like people, there's stories.
Correct. Dad, you want to know what football they like the most? It's their high school.
Yeah.
As Colin
and by the way,
I know.
I love it. I played high school in Cleveland, high level. That's a big joke on the show. D1, Region 1. And we won Emmy Awards for our coverage when I worked for the Fox affiliate in Cleveland for covering high school football. They gave me a helicopter to go to the games.
I mean, they give you to land where?
An A-star right next to the field. Like the Beatles, I got out of that helicopter.
What is
and
this?
people went
Friday
crazy.
night touchdown.
Friday
What is
night
Rizzo.
touchdown.
With a helicopter.
Helicopter to cover high school ball.
Did you go to multiple games in one night because you're in a helicopter? You went to 3 a night.
And what we would do...
Disrupting the communities.
No, what we would do, Colin, is we would go out...
People trying to get some sleep. Tony Rizzo in a helicopter.
Oh, you could hear it coming a
1,000 feet
mile
off
away.
the ground.
Akron, Canton, we would go out because the other stations couldn't get the highlights back in time from those games. So we got the Stark County, Summit County, which Cuyahoga County is Cleveland, and built up a great following. It's it's most fun I've ever had in my career, truly.
People live and breathe high school sports because there's the natural connection there, but also to the local fan bases, people live and breathe the Cleveland sports in Cleveland. There's not a sense of any. Is there any Chicago fan in Cleveland, or is it all Cleveland?
It's all
no,
Cleveland.
you won't see anybody else.
Not even close.
No. A lot of Steeler fans because of the proximity.
Right.
Youngstown, that Youngstown-Warren area down there, it's halfway between Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
So you get a little Steelers.
Get a little Steelers, but that's it.
Really?
Now, right now, everybody's loving up on the Cavs right now. The Cavaliers look unbelievable.
Colin tells me every day he took the win total and the over on the
9-0. And they got the Warriors. They got
47.5?
47.5.
We're gonna win by January.
Yeah, gosh, Valentine's Day will be good to go. It's gonna be great. They got the Warriors tonight, I believe. So
tonight, Friday night.
Yeah, they do. And then they have an easy schedule.
I was supposed to go to that game, but I'm here with you guys instead.
You were supposed to be at the pool too.
Guess what? I know the Warriors are hot. The Warriors stink. They're going.
They're 7-1. I almost took that under.
Going
What's
nowhere
the line
this
tonight?
year.
They're probably a couple points. I'll double check, but
Cavs got to be a favorite.
I watched that Warrior. I want to get your take on the NBA on the other side because I think the NBA is a tricky league with how it's sort of trending. Stars playing, the overabundance of threes.
I've got a take on that. Yeah.
We'll get to that next. Tony Rizzo joining on Russo and Rizzo, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat. I want to get your thoughts on the NBA, and I also want to get your thoughts on the Mount Rushmore of Cleveland sports. I want to get somebody who knows that more than anybody, Tony Rizzo. Stick around, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Sports fans, it's the best time of the year. It's fall when everything is happening. Football's back. Fighting gets real. Baseball playoffs. Get ahead of the action. Plan your time now to be at Twin Peaks, the ultimate guys lodge, the ultimate sports lodge. Never ever a cover to watch any fights, any MMA, UFC, or boxing pay-per-views. Always watch for free. Of course, the eats, the drinks, the signature scenic views, and of course, Twin Peaks 29-degree ice-cold beer made from scratch favorites. like their burgers, wings, mozzarella bites, and so much more. Happy Hour weekdays. Take advantage of $5 man-sized drafts. And remember, never ever pay a cover to watch any of the fights. Your official UFC fight headquarters is your official football headquarters all week long, all season long. Eats, drinks, scenic views, 29-degree beers, Twin Peaks, the ultimate guys lodge for everything sports.
What's the Anajar and Levine difference? If you're the victim of a car crash, you will always speak to a lawyer. You'll always get the highest standard of care from our dedicated legal team, and we'll always fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Don't wait. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Tee up your taste buds with the ultimate pairing, great food and golf. Theo Dorsey here at The House in West Palm Beach. Overlooking the park's world-class 18-hole golf course, The House offers coastal American dishes that will satisfy anyone's palate. The House is open Thursday through Sunday for lunch, brunch, and dinner. Stop by for an entree and receive a free round at the park's The Lit 9 Par 3 course. On The House. Visit thehousewestpalm.com for their full menu and to make reservations.
ESPN 106.3 is your home for Miami Dolphins football. Every Miami Dolphins game right here, all season long on ESPN 106.3.
Good Greek, moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Hey, it's your boy JC reminding you to go on YouTube right now. Hit subscribe on Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The best from sports, stupidity, and social media. Exclusive on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Hit subscribe now.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo, our Friday edition rolling on here. The 7th, or is it the 8th? It's the 8th already of November. Great Tony Rizzo joining in studio, first hour. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat, of course, behind the glass on the ones and twos, making sure we go over the air. Whole lot of fun that last segment. We jumped around a little bit, but now let's get into a little bit of sports. Of course, we got the Rizzo squared in the building with us, but let's talk some Cavs. We're done with the Browns. Let's bury
Deal.
that, right? Let's bury that. Forget it. And I want to get some thoughts about the Guardians in a few minutes. But the Cavs, 9-0. I took that 47.5, so I'm going to still ride high on that. But they've been great. Atkinson was an excellent hire.
Yeah. A lot of teams wanted him, and apparently it was quite the coup. For Dan Gilbert. I know Dan pretty well.
What do you think was part of the sell?
Ultimate owner. Cavaliers are a fantastic organization to work for. They have the best of everything. Mm-hmm. Dan makes sure of that. And you want for nothing. All the resources. Couldn't imagine a coach going into a better situation. But what he's been able to do is mesh those four, the core four, okay, which is Garland and Mitchell and Allen
and Mobley.
And Mobley was the guy that they wanted to. They think he has the most upside out of even as much or more than Mitchell. So enabling him to be a better offensive player was the key. So far, so good. Guys, I want to, it's 9 games. Okay,
I agree. Calm down.
Yeah, everybody
for the win total.
Yeah, the win total.
We're good. We're money.
I think health is paramount. You've got to stay healthy. I don't think the Cavs have a ton of depth. Their bench is good, not great, but so far so good.
And so 9-0, of course. They got the Warriors tonight, 7:30.
Good game.
3.5. They're favored by 3.5 in that one. The Cavs are. Okay. So the Warriors, of course, are coming off a good win against the Boston Celtics. But I watched a little of that game, and one thing I noticed that's paramount in terms of how the NBA is sort of trending is the amount of threes. Yeah. And this is a league now where every team takes 40 to 50 threes a game. Yep. Or if you're the Celtics, you take 60. And that is sort of the play style surrounding the NBA. I know every team's a little different, but just the floor of the three-point shooting is raised. I think it's hurt the product, and I think you're going to see that in the ratings and everything. Yeah. What's your takeaway in terms of the trajectory in terms of what you're seeing in the NBA?
Well, number one, the one thing I think about is some of the older players, if they were in the league now, a guy like Larry Bird, how many threes would Larry Bird have made?
One or two a game?
And now, what about now? What if Larry Bird was taking 10 threes? How many points would he have averaged? I agree with you, the chucking up the threes, but you guys were just telling me about your kids that you're coaching, the seventh grade kids that you're coaching. Colin, what do they want to do?
It's a trickle-down effect. They want to be Steph.
They want to be Steph.
They want to be Curry.
We asked 3 kids who their favorite player was. They all said Steph Curry. And Colin finally stopped and goes, all right, guys, we're not doing that.
I will say this. If you get in a shootout, the Cavaliers have scored 130 a couple of times already this year. Get into a shootout, it's fun. But I understand what you're saying. I still think going down the stretch, the teams that play better defense are the ones that win down the stretch.
Right. That's what carries in the postseason.
Going back to what you said about Bird. Bird got brought up. Can you imagine if Michael Jordan played now? Now, I understand he wasn't the best three-point shooter early on in his career, but towards the back end, I'm convinced Michael could have averaged like 40 points a game.
Well, the amount of time is so inflated.
And also, how many times would he go to the free throw line? We complain about James Harden, Joel Embiid being free throw merchants. Michael would live at the free throw line. He'd average 35, 40 free throws.
They got mugged. Those guys got mugged, and they didn't go to the line back in the day.
Yeah, you're talking about the old
Pistons,
Cavs days.
The Pistons, the bad boys.
The old Cavs teams, too. What was that?
Daughtry and
Elo and Price. All those guys. Jordan took your guys' lunch a couple times.
As far as the other angle to this is the guy's not playing, okay? I think it's their own personal way of saying 82 games is too much.
So do you think
the owners, the owners are not going to get rid of 82 games. It's money. So the kids are like, all right, if you're going to make us play 82 games, then we're going to be on our own schedule. And that's what you're seeing.
So what do you think? Is there a route to fix any of this? What do you think how this is going to work?
Well, first of all, I think Commissioner Silver's done a good job. It's a tough time right now.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think he's a little overrated.
He's not David Stern.
We both
guys.
He's not
Come
Stern,
on.
and he's not as good as Stern. And he's not as good as Goodell at his
Stern.
job. I think Silver kind of lets the players walk all over.
You know what's happening right now, Colin? They're full of money right now. Yeah. They are full of money. TV networks are giving them so much money. Financially, they're good. As far as the product goes, you're probably right. We're all going to watch tonight, though.
Yeah, I mean, we'll tune in tonight because it's a big game. Yeah. But I think game by game, the players sitting out is a big problem.
Yeah, it is.
Joel and it's the older players. This is something that was popularized by Popovich in the old days and LeBron. This is a relatively new phenomenon. You haven't seen it with every team, but the teams with the stars, the ones that draw the fans, those are the guys that are sitting out. That's a major problem.
I will say this. We looked at the stats on this. LeBron played like 75 last year. Durant played like 74. They implemented ways to get away from it, and it worked last year.
It was the minimum games to get awards and everything.
It worked last year.
Which means more money.
More of that.
So,
more of that. I liked the reason I keep bringing up Michael Jordan is because Jordan had a saying, someone's seeing me for the first time tonight. Yeah. I got to play. I'm Michael Jordan.
That actually goes back to Joe DiMaggio, Mike, believe it or not. Joe D of the Yankees used to say, they used to ask him, why you play so hard, up 10-1 or up 10? He'd say, because there's some kid in the stands tonight who came to see me play for the first time, and I don't want to let him down. Tell you another thing, look it up. I think it was 17 last year with the Cavs. I think LeBron played in all 82, either 81 or 82. He wanted to do that. He wanted to prove that he could play in the games. And LeBron, he didn't take a lot of nights off.
No. It was when he was with the Heat that load management thing came about, and then he fixed it. And LeBron's been pretty good about being available. You mentioned something interesting there. Joey D being Joe DiMaggio, having that game where you're as a kid, that kind of enlightens you to sports. Do you have a game like that growing up?
My dad took me to Cleveland Stadium. This had to be 1967.
Okay.
I had to be 7 years old. And the Indians stunk. They were so bad when I was a kid. They were always bad. But I just remember walking up that corridor and looking at that field, and it was a twilight doubleheader. We were at the second game. I saw the lights, and I was hooked, man. Baseball was my first love, but growing up as a Browns fan, I've been to some pretty cool stuff with the Browns over the years. My first year, Colin, the Browns went to the AFC Championship game. They took a lead on the Denver Broncos on a touchdown late in the fourth quarter, 5 minutes left, and that was the drive. It was the first year I ever covered sports. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Then they went
start on a high.
They went to 3 AFC title games in 4 years, and I thought we'd be going every year. Never been back.
The best part of that story, the first year and the John Elway drive, before the drive, when they were on the 2, the 1?
Yeah, we have relatives in California.
Go
My
ahead.
cousins live in California.
Okay.
Uncle Johnny.
And the Super Bowl was in Pasadena. And I called him and I go, man, I'm coming.
Tickets.
I'm coming.
Put the malarkey.
I said we're coming.
We got a saying in the
You can't
family.
do that. You can't do that.
He put the malarkey.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
On him.
You
now,
can't do that.
Now, Colin, I have a moment like that, and it's because of him. My brother and I, obviously we were huge LeBron fans. My dad took us to the McDonald's All-American game when I was in the second grade to see LeBron play for St. Vincent St. Mary. That's one. But the really big one, Kyle, was the series against Detroit when LeBron beat Detroit. The Cavs were down 0-2. They went to Detroit. They lost both games. And my dad had to do stuff for TV on the court before Game 3. And I'll never forget, no one was in the arena, and LeBron was getting shots up. And my dad looks at my brother and goes,
there you go.
Yeah. He goes, that's how you know. He goes, we're winning tonight. And sure enough, LeBron was getting shots up, going through his workout routine. We were the only people in the building.
Yeah. The only other guy I remember doing that more than LeBron was Ray Allen.
Really?
Every time Colin, we had 5 o'clock news, and I got to the Q or the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse now. I'd get there by 4, to 3:30, 4 to get ready for these live shots. And
4 or 5 hours, that's 4 or 5 hours before the game.
Before the game, Ray Allen's chucking up jumpers, man, at 3:45 in the afternoon, 100 before a game. Everybody wonders why he was such a great shooter. Michael Jordan says it you got to practice, man. It's work ethic, man. LeBron had it from the very beginning.
But yeah, I'll never.
You're not believe this. When LeBron got drafted, there were people who thought Carmelo Anthony was going to be better.
Yeah, well,
that's a true story.
Anthony went to college and
Right,
he
he won the
had a great run
championship
with
at Syracuse.
in 04,
But Colin,
03.
that was my moment where oh wow,
That Jimmy Boeheim's only one?
This is awesome.
All right.
Was that his only one?
Because he was the 1 seed in 2000.
Yeah, but hang on.
Yeah,
Can I
that was the
defend
one.
Boeheim? Final Fours year in and year. It's hard to win, guys. It's hard to win.
All those guys, man, all those old school basketball coaches, they've
Gone.
had enough.
Right.
Colin,
Gone.
they can't. They're
Dad,
not
this
doing,
is
they're not
Colin.
Is this an
doing it.
NIL problem?
This college hoops is Colin's
Nick Saban,
thing.
football too, and Nick Saban. You
Saban,
can't,
gone. Forget
all
it.
your depth
Izzo's on
is
his way
gone.
out.
Yeah,
Izzo's
all your
almost
depth. I got a buddy right now. His kid got drafted or recruited by Ohio State. Got a full ride. Played at Glenville. He's a fantastic player. He was a high school All-American. He played both ways. Like 4th string on Ohio State bench. You know how many schools are calling him right now going, come to us. Come. We'll pay you X amount of dollars. You come play for me.
Apartment,
right.
the whole
Same
thing.
thing, college hoops. All those kids that would be 6, 7, 8 on the bench, they're playing for money somewhere else.
So this is now a situation in college athletics where they're acting like it's not a pay-to-play. There's not technically one. It is a pay-to-play.
Right.
Yes, it is.
We're going to give you this. We're going to give you that. Come play for us. And it's
listen,
a year contract, year by year.
And that's why these coaches are under so much scrutiny. I don't blame the old heads for getting out. The one that shook me to the core was Coach K. I was born.
Now, Coach K had a big retirement tour.
Right.
So,
but
that
here's
was
the thing, though. I was born in 94. Coach K has been coaching as long as I've been alive, and you too. So, him retiring, seeing all this NIL stuff, I go, wow, the game is truly changing.
Guys, it'll change
truly
two more times in your career. Just watch.
Unbelievable. He thinks that the colleges are going to shift towards a super conference, and there might be some steam to that. Colleges, the traditionality of college sports is sort of the beauty of it. The Big Ten's always been that.
I want to.
Not anymore.
Money.
Not anymore.
The game of the year for us growing up, in middle school, whatever, the Buckeyes played USC. You remember, Dad, 2-3 years in a row in the regular season. And it was always, Pac-12 versus Big Ten. When the news came out that USC was coming to the Big Ten, I go,
it's all for money.
How is that allowed?
It is all for money. And guys, remember this. This 12-team playoff, this is about getting the Big Ten and SEC teams in more. That's all it is.
Right.
You're going to have 8 Big Ten SEC teams in the 12-team playoff.
And Colin,
and they're going to wait to expand it. To watch them expand it.
You had the story where they tried to get 4 guaranteed.
Yep.
The SEC and the Big Ten are already trying to get 4 teams guaranteed.
By the way, that's a wink, and they're going to get 4.
And so the part of the reason there's a bunch of logistics because the SEC only plays 8 league games and they have to move it up to 9 in order to do a marriage agreement with the Big Ten. So there's a whole bunch of logistics there.
Colin, we talk about this a lot. How horrible is the Big Ten at football outside of Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon?
Indiana.
It is. Not
Signetti,
yet.
we're Signetti guys.
Not yet.
Sign up.
Sign
up. If you want Day to get out of there, your first call should be Kurt Signetti.
Not yet.
Vrabel, not
hang on.
Not Fickle.
You're the guy who said he was 60 years old and to go with caution. All right? So hang on here. But, I mean, Dad, we talk about Kentucky. They're a tough out. They're 3-5.
South Carolina, Florida.
Yeah,
The
Purdue.
Big Ten's not. The Big Ten stinks. The Big Ten stinks.
The Big Ten the big noon game is the 1-7 Boilermakers and the Buckeyes.
But don't forget, guys, down year for Michigan and Penn State's a poser. So
down year.
Down year for
Wisconsin
Michigan.
stinks.
Decade.
I'm a Wisconsin guy, and they're terrible.
What is going
They're
on?
terrible.
I thought
and they have a Fickle guy. I don't know if
I thought he would be great.
We love Fickle.
I do not love Fickle.
Do you know what position he played at Ohio State?
He was defensive lineman, right?
Nose guard.
Nose guard, yeah.
Luke Fickle was a nose guard. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And everybody thought he'd be floated for that Ohio State job. But, you know, Day's allegedly going to get fired every year, according to the Ohio State.
Well,
fans.
he's on a game.
Mike,
No, hang on.
With
us in the class of 13, he's on a game. He's allowed to get game by game basis.
He's been game by game basis since 2017.
Well, hang on. Guys, you can't lose to Michigan 3 years in a row and not win the big one.
You guys better hope you're not on a game-to-game basis over here in West Palm.
Yeah,
Come on.
right. But like one thing I'll say to that is if you want somebody like Day out, I know we're jumping around here, but Luke Fickle, Wisconsin did that exact same thing. Yeah. They kind of gutted the program. Get rid of Paul Chryst. Get rid of basically everything that Wisconsin's brand surrounded, the running the football, you know, the homegrown guys, the stout defense. And they brought in Fickle, who brought in a bunch of air raid guys.
Right.
And it hasn't stuck. It hasn't resonated not only with the players, but it hasn't resonated with basically the staff. Yeah, it just doesn't work.
He's not getting.
No, but he's getting the stars, but he's not getting the defensive linemen. He's not getting the offensive linemen. He's not getting
mid-level players.
He's getting this. He's got 11 secondary guys coming in. Fickle, like get the meat and potatoes of the offense in there.
They forgot what Wisconsin football is.
Yeah,
honestly.
And I'm not saying it was no winning formula, but that's why it's been such a disaster. They just lost 42-10 to Iowa. 42-10, they just lost.
The other thing with Ohio State is they have a new AD. Okay, Gene Smith was there a long time. Knew him. Been on the show a bunch of times. Cleveland guy. With that new AD, you know, Ryan's got to win. Ryan's got to beat Michigan. He's got to win at least one game in the playoff. That's
He's got to win at least one game.
At least one game.
I'm throwing them. I want to win the Big Ten. Yeah. We haven't won the Big Ten since 2020.
You'll probably play Oregon.
It's hard to beat a team twice. It'll be a neutral site. That'll probably be in Indianapolis or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly where
it was a shoo-in. When I was in school, that the Buckeyes were winning.
That's
going to
be a home game for Ohio State. You know that Indianapolis, Oregon's going to be traveling across the country for that, playing them again. Ohio State's going to be pissed off. Yeah. That will not be an easy game unless Indiana has something to say about it. Buy in now. Did
you see what they say? They call it Sig 10.
Maybe
Sig
take a flyer.
10, not the Big Ten. The Sig 10.
Take a flyer on Indiana win the Big Ten. I bet you they're about 20-1.
Good odds. I'm sure we'll check on Hard Rock.
Theo Dorsey, our very own Theo Dorsey, 2-4 theoretically speaking. He took that bet, and it was plus 1,200.
He can't.
No, it was
plus 12-1. It was plus 1,200.
I don't love that. No. But it looks like I agree. Ohio State's got the talent, and if you're like you said, if Mike had anything to do with it, Ryan Day would have been long gone. His after the first drive of the Penn State game, empty out the office, pack your bags.
Game by game basis for Coach Day. Game by game basis.
Mike, you know he came on the show when he recruited this summer. Be nice to Coach Day. All right, come on. Give him a chance, for God's sake. Come on.
Give him a chance. Come on. Give him a chance.
Let's be fair. He's had a chance.
Yeah,
he's
been
chance.
Guys, the way they look at it is this year was their all-in. $20 million
this is it.
NIL. $20 million roster.
And
you've got to produce.
And they still
to your point, Colin, This is getting more like pro football every day.
Yeah, and the SEC is not necessarily. There's no undefeated Georgia. There's no undefeated team that's like a looming. It
drives me nuts.
Guy.
I bring this up to Colin all the time. Hard Rock Bet. You go download the app. They have the Buckeyes on the future. Dad, they're plus 325. They have the best odds. We don't know why. Over Georgia, over Texas, over Oregon. Oregon's fourth on the list.
Yeah, I think that's a little strange.
They're fourth on the list. Great. I don't understand it. But and then Colin said it the other day. I kind of agreed with them. Maybe they're thinking the talent is.
They're banking on the talent to finally show up in a big game.
I'll say this: their offensive line finally looked good. They look
great.
Thank you. They had an All-American guard. And they moved the kid to left tackle, and he did a phenomenal job.
Donovan Jackson played unbelievable. Shabola played
He held that edge kid from Penn State off. Who's going to be
Abdul Carter.
They have a couple pros on that defensive line.
Carter got home a few times, but he got home a few times.
Hello, the kid's a guard. He's playing tackle. I thought he did great.
Yep.
Sure did. Tony Rizzo, the really big show on ESPN in Cleveland.
You guys are fun.
Yeah, right?
You guys are fun. I might stay here for a while.
Hey, please.
Stick around.
Who cares about the pool?
I might be here Monday, Colin. You never know.
Stick around. Stick around, man. You don't need to go back to Cleveland.
There's no Brown game to go back to.
I told him, Colin, I looked at my dad and said, when are you moving down here?
There's no Brown game.
Like, when are you getting away from that garbage?
Are you retiring me already?
Dad, Hammer can handle it. Hammer can handle it.
Wait till that Deshaun Watson contract is finito and finished and off the books in the Browns, and then you could go back up north. But, of course, Tony Rizzo, the really big show on ESPN Cleveland, joining us now. First full hour, we got another segment with him. Listen to that 9 to 1 Eastern time on ESPN Cleveland. Of course, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cap behind the glass. It's Russo and Rizzo. We'll do a little what happened last night on Thursday Night Football between the Bengals and the Ravens. A little NFL national talk. We'll stick away from the Browns. Stick around for that. Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen for the Accident Attorneys, Anajar and Levine. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Did you get injured on the job? Workers' comp problems? My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine, they will fight for you. Remember, they do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation you know you deserve. Here's what you do. You just call. Call Anajar and Levine for your absolutely free consultation. Do not settle for just any attorneys. Demand Anajar and Levine, and demand the Anajar and Levine difference. It takes just one phone call to begin to take back control of your life. So do that. Take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Take back control of your life.
There's something that binds us all. The constant hunger to improve. The obsession with every detail. And the reward of a custom fitting taking your game to a whole new level. We're all bound by two words said by golfers worldwide. Schedule your fitting at Edwin Watts Golf Shops. Find your local store at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Banyan Printing, your trusted printing, mailing, and signage partner in the Palm Beaches for over 45 years. Banyan Printing's new metallic ink press adds that extra shine so that your product comes out in glossy gold, sparkling silver, or any other color you want to shine. Banyan Printing is the official printer of Kaiser Athletics and would love to be your official printing partner as well. Order products and learn more about what Banyan Printing can do for your business at banyanonline.com or call 561-586-6220.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen. When you need auto repair, honesty and reliability are everything. Trust the home for honest, reliable service since 1970. St. Lucie Battery and Tire. St. Lucie Battery and Tire has all the tire and battery brands in stock for cars, trucks, RVs, marine, power sports, golf carts, everything. Major and minor service repairs, free tire pressure, battery checks. St. Lucie Battery and Tire, over 50 years in our community. And now with 18 full-service locations, West Palm to the Treasure Coast. Go to slbt.com. That's slbt.com.
Tee up your taste buds with the ultimate pairing, great food and golf. Theo Dorsey here at the House
house in West Palm Beach, overlooking the park's world-class 18-hole golf course. The house offers coastal American dishes that will satisfy anyone's palate. The house is open Thursday through Sunday for lunch, brunch, and dinner. Stop by for an entree and receive a free round at the park's The Lit 9 Par 3 course. On the house. Visit thehousewestpalm.com for their full menu and to make reservations.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Rolling on here on Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3, live from the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat behind the glass helping us out, joined by a special guest, Tony Rizzo of The Really Big Show on ESPN Cleveland. You can hear that 9 to 1 weekdays over on ESPN Cleveland. Coming to visit Mike here for a couple days now. Getting a feel for West Palm. I know you know the area more than anyone. You got a tan already, which is incredible. You've been here for like 36 hours, and you're already more tan than Mike by a substantial margin, which is unbelievable.
Looked at me and goes, white as a ghost.
White as a ghost, indeed. You want to know something that's funny about Mike? So Mike has a thing. Mike will either he'll wear the button down. You're not doing it today. He'll wear the button down and like the dress pants, and he looks nice. It looks snazzy. But what we have to do when we go to these high school games is we have to wear what Mike is wearing now. If you listen on the YouTube stream on ESPN West Palm, you can see Mike's wearing a red polo ESPN West Palm. So if we're doing the show and Mike's in a button-down, he's got to get changed. So he brings, of course, you bring a change of clothes because you got to turn into that because you could go to these high school places and they'll let him in.
Quickly, you throw the shorts on. You know, it's hot outside.
Sure. So. Totally. So that's what the responsible person would do. You bring the change of clothes, you get changed here, whatever. This has happened twice. You know, once I wouldn't have cared. Twice is a pattern. Around the office, scattered in the production room and here, Mike's clothes will be folded and just left on the table.
I forgot them, Dad.
Your clothes.
I forgot the clothes.
A nice button down and pants in the production room in the corner, and then in the studio here on the table where you're sitting.
Dad, I had someone. You know, I'm not gonna say who it was in the office. Came up to me and goes, Mike, I think you left your clothes.
Who else clothes is gonna be? Who else
and
gets
I'm like,
changed?
my bad.
Hold on now, because I want to know between you two. So I went to Mike's apartment last night.
Oh God,
and it is a dorm room.
No, it's not.
Okay. He's got boxes of furniture.
I was under the impression he had a good setup.
No,
Come on.
It's a great setup.
No. Your bed is in the living room of your apartment.
We got a couch. We got TVs. We got a table. We're
I've
good.
also heard about you.
Oh, it's not good. It's worse.
What is your system right now? You guys are going to have to entertain significant others at some point in your
life.
life.
Not there yet.
Well, boy, that's for sure.
We're well a ways away.
What do you got going right now?
Well, Colin's younger. He's
yeah. Oh, is your bed in your living room?
So why is the bed in the living room?
Dude, because my room is hotter than blazes.
So you moved the
hotter
bed?
than
Total
blazes.
BS.
I moved the
You moved the frame and moved the mattress out of the bedroom.
The frame isn't put together, Colin.
I went to build the frame.
The mattress on the ground?
I went to build the frame.
By the way, it's a Casper. Yeah. I got it right over here.
My brother,
it's not a cheap mattress. It's a Casper mattress.
Colin, Joe, that's Joe's room. Joe stayed. Joe gets the room. I blow up the air mattress. It's his room.
Ridiculous, guys. Fix your room.
Set up the bed frame. I have my bed frame is set up. I'll give you that.
His will be set up tomorrow at 10:30.
So the rest of my apartment, we talked about it a couple months ago. It's exactly the same. I was able to get a generous donation for somebody in the office who had an extra coffee table, so I picked up that. So I got that set up. But I got one of those TV tables, that people have when they have dinner and they want to sit on their chair. I got one of those. I got it for like $9 at Target, and I got 2 chairs. I got a folding chair, one you'd bring to like a softball game for when your kid's growing up.
No kitchen table.
No kitchen table.
No island.
No island.
I have an island.
And then I'll have a recliner. Dude. I have one of these little chair recliners. It's not like a big time recliner. I got it for $20 on Facebook.
Dude, I have a very nice couch, a very nice TV, my bed set up, an island table. What more do I need? I got my desk. Hang on. I built the working desk. I have my desk where I work.
You have a desk?
Yeah. What the hell do I need?
5 furniture stores on this street alone.
There's more furniture stores than you can shake a stick at. It's
you guys got to get down there, get them to advertise with you right now.
We're working on it.
Stay tuned on Monday. We'll see what we can conjure up. I mean, part of it is I agree with, from Mike's perspective, I don't know if I need it.
The hell do I need it?
We're both single guys. Like, we don't have.
I don't
like
need
you
it,
said,
dude.
Eventually, it's going to be a problem.
I honestly, God, I love my
Good thing you're working a lot. That's all. Awesome.
we Colin, we're here more than we're not.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have a lot. I'm there. I sometimes eat. I used to before I had the TV table. I would eat with the plate on my knees, and that was a little rough. Plate on my knees, a little rough. I agree. So that's why I invested in the TV table, and it works great. It works great. So it's functional. But it was funny. I wanted to tell you how the clothes sometimes lying around. It's like a clue that Mike was here.
Get him a closet, Colin.
Yeah,
Throw him a closet
Get him
over
walk
here.
in with a couple of hangers.
The production studio is my domain.
That is his domain.
That
That's
is
his little den.
absolutely
Everybody
mine.
has
We need
their
a
den.
locker room in this place.
We don't get desks. Can you believe that? We
There's
don't have
nowhere
desks.
to go.
We don't have
I
desks.
put my
We don't
clothes
have
on
desks at Cleveland.
We don't have anything.
Aaron and Emmett and I do not have
You don't have a
desk.
desk
Is that
either.
hang on, is that a GKB thing where content just doesn't
You know
get
what?
done?
We want to keep you moving.
Get out of here. They don't want you hanging around the other people.
Jeez, oh, man.
You're just going to distract.
Well,
Everybody's
Colin,
distract
please,
everybody.
Colin and I, we have presidential debates in that office, okay?
Wait, and if we're at a desk, then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're going to be parked next to somebody who actually has to do their job when we're not doing our job.
The best is when Colin and O'Terry start going at it, and Colin's, pointing the finger at O'Terry on God only knows what, and everyone's just like looking at him.
Well, how great you guys are having fun down there.
It's
That's
fun.
what it's all
It's
about.
a lot of fun.
And it comes through on the air. Always remember that. I know you know it, but it comes through on the air that you guys are having fun, you get along, and it sounds that way, and it sounds good.
Oh, it's great. And we've had a ball down here, and the one thing that's weird is the no seasons. There's no seasons down here.
We talked about that 2 days ago, and honestly, my whole thing of not seasons are overrated. Just have it be 75 and sunny.
I'm
They're
on the
overrated.
opposite of that. This is weird.
I'm
We're in the
turning
middle of
into my
November now, and it's still 85 degrees outside.
I'll tell you, the trees in Northeast Ohio was unbelievable. The foliage was unbelievable this year. The red, the orange, the yellow. It's a
I like that.
Cleveland,
That feels
it's
like
a
football.
It's a
That feels
beautiful.
like football.
And
Don't
it gets
worry,
a little
Colin.
crispy.
Wait. A little crispy. Wait till it's 5 degrees
you
outside.
grew up in New
okay?
York.
I get it.
Wait till it's 5
I-
degrees outside.
I enjoy that. I think
And
after
honestly,
New Year's it stinks.
My
But
Peorians know I love Peoria, and I do consider myself a Peorian. I'll tell you what, man. The winters there were like nothing I've ever. Colin, we had 18 days of -5.
I went to school
We had
about 45 miles north, so I totally understand.
18 days -5. I had to wake up 45 minutes early to turn my car on.
Oh, yeah. Wisconsin's cold.
To turn my damn car on. I had to wake up at.
Cleveland's cold, but we're not like that, man.
That's bad.
We get snow. The lake affects snow.
Oh, you guys enjoy it over here.
Oh,
come on.
we
This
are.
is
I
beautiful.
mean, we're
lucky.
going to dinner tonight. What are we getting? Chicken parm, Kyle?
Something Italian. What
do we get?
We got to
Taking
play the
you to
part.
Italian.
We got to play the. Of course, I wouldn't
I
expect
told my
anything
dad,
different.
I told Colin, I said, dude, make sure you fast today because we're about to put on a display. We have a saying
Mike
in the
ate
family.
last night enough for 3.
Yeah, he said that.
Oh,
he,
yeah.
he was
He
was
told me you
excited
could
about
eat
it.
too.
I could eat.
Oh my
when I
God,
choose.
Dad, he can eat.
I'm a decent eater.
We were at the Boca Raton, formerly the Boca Resort. We were at the Boca Raton. Dad, you remember Uncle Spanky, cousin Spanky? I looked at Colin. I said, Colin, I don't think my Uncle Spanky could eat that much. I think I saw him shovel throughout the day. So Colin is really good at like putting himself on a regimen to where he doesn't cheat. He eats very clean.
I have a diet. Yeah,
but
I'm a
Dad, when
diet
he goes
Gotta have a cheat day.
when he goes cheat day,
Tonight.
cheat
Tonight's
day,
cheat night.
Dad,
It starts
cheat
in 2
day?
hours, my friend.
Dad, cheat day, 10K calories is a cheat day.
Yeah.
I looked at him. You know how much I can eat.
Yeah.
I looked at him. I said, buddy, I don't think I've ever seen anyone
It was
eat like
great
that.
food. It was
Oh,
great
it was
food. We had
it's
chicken, the
fantastic.
steak, the whole thing.
Fantastic.
To segue a little bit, Tony Rizzo joining us now on Russo Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. How about what we saw last night on Thursday Night Football? In terms of a
game of the
good
year?
game, that was
Game of the year
an
was.
excellent game.
Yeah.
And
I got to give Cincy credit for going forward for 2 because they realized, Colin, they could not stop all. They were not going to. They
And
had
they
to
played
try
well
and
early
take
in the
a lead.
game, too.
Yeah. 21-7 lead, on the road like that, you would expect to win that game. I think Lamar right now is the MVP. I couldn't imagine anybody else getting the award.
Well, we said
but
Henry.
Baltimore's defense is suspect. They are.
Very suspect.
I still think Kansas City's the best team. I think Buffalo is there. I want to see him play on the road this weekend, but it's coming down to the same old, same old. It's Baltimore.
Where does Detroit
Kansas
lie
City.
in this?
Detroit's probably the best team in the NFL.
They're
really
they're
are.
really
I'll
dangerous.
take the Chiefs.
Their
guys.
offensive line, I'm telling you, Colin, they are. And Kevin Zeitler used to play for the Browns.
Yeah, they do everything right.
Good guy.
They are monsters.
They do
on
everything
that line.
great. They really do. And they got 3 head coaches on that staff, which is why that's dangerous as well.
There are statistics out there, Dad, of Joe Burrow throwing the only quarterback in NFL history to lose.
Baltimore has a better team around.
Yeah, and
Lamar's got a better team. I think Lamar's a little better than Burrow, but Burrow's damn good.
Oh, yeah. They're different players.
I'd probably take Burrow, but neither here nor there. They get the biggest kick out of me calling them the Ratbirds and the Bungles, by the way. Squealers, Ratbirds, Bungles. That's a tough watch.
Boy, they owned
that's a tough watch.
That division, they owned us for decades.
That's a tough watch for me.
And
those games always
what about
are.
the Steelers? 6-2, coming out of the bye this week.
How about Russ? 3-0. Russ is 3-0.
I'm high on them. I think they got a pretty decent team. I think they're going to play well this week, too.
Was it Giants, Jets?
They haven't played that many teams.
Right.
But they had a great defense, and that defense is going to travel, get if anybody fits.
And they went for it. They added.
I like the upset Sunday. I like the Colts at home Sunday. But Pittsburgh's a good team. They're always good. They're coaching.
Hang on, no.
What were the
Bengals
Bengals record?
Commanders. They play the Commanders.
Commanders. That's it. That's a good game.
I liked the Commanders 2.5.
I'm going to tell you something. What would the Bengals record be if they had Mike Tomlin?
Yeah.
How about that?
So you think this is a Zach Taylor problem?
No, not at all. Not totally.
But Mike Tomlin is an ultimate floor
Michael
raiser.
knows. What do the Bengals do, Michael?
They draft offense.
That goes back
They
to
can't
Paul
draft.
Brown.
They cannot draft. It's unbelievable.
You, Colin, how many defensive players?
It's unbelievable. Like, I was looking through their past 2 drafts, which is where the bulk of your team, at least the guys you're not paying, should be around the last 2-3 drafts. They got like 1 or 2 starters tops, off those 2 drafts. That cannot happen. No wonder that defense is completely suspect. You can't sign anybody because you gave all the money elsewhere. You're gonna have to pay. After yesterday, you're gonna have to pay Chase. Yeah. So this is a major problem for them.
Perfect example of that is Bates. We talk a lot, Dad, how we wouldn't pay. Like, obviously there are some receivers you pay. You get strong-armed into paying these receivers, but like Colin and I, we love what Green Bay does. Yeah. Jordan Love and a bunch of guys, and it's working. Look at Josh Allen this year. Remember, everyone, Stephon Diggs isn't there. Allen's not going to have success. They're 7-2. Well on their way to 8-2. We took them on our punchline picks. But, the Bengals, the Ravens, we finally got a good game on Thursday night. Yeah. We looked at each other and said, my goodness.
And those games usually stink.
And how about Al Michaels?
Oh, Michaels.
Did you see what he did last night? Did you see what? Because obviously there were missed calls.
Hold on, you're picking on Al Michaels?
I'm not picking on him.
I agree with this.
But we pick on him. But I swear this isn't me picking on him. So we could all agree that it was holding and illegal hands to the face on the final play. We could all agree on that,
you
right?
You heard what Joe Burrow said,
calls.
Mike? You heard what he said after the game?
I don't care what he said.
He said, in that situation, you're not going to get those calls.
We know this.
Right.
End of the game, you're not going to get the calls.
But that's not fair. That's not fair.
It's football.
That's not fair.
No, on the last play of the game that means the most, the last thing the league wants is a flag.
Yep. And they dealt with that a whole lot.
Al nonetheless said,
Saints Rams.
It's frustrating for the fans when games end like this.
If you're Bengals,
he said it on the broadcast. Yeah. I agree with him.
Play better defense.
4 straight touchdown drives. You can't do that. But to that point,
clear as day though. If that were the Browns, I'd be losing my mind.
Yeah, it's a rough look, and it sucks that the NFL has come to this a number of times now. You know what's weird too is with the 2 feet in bounds, the same foot. That happened for a 3rd time in 2 weeks. I've never seen that.
I don't know what's a catch anymore.
Nobody knows.
You got to keep it to the ground. You got to hold it to the ground.
We don't know. Hang on, I want to say. High school the games I've covered for high school, they have the same problem. No one knows what the hell a catch is at any level.
I don't want to see the replay, people. I don't. They got Mike Pereira.
And he doesn't know half the time. Mike, you don't know. Mike's like, I got to go with the officials here.
I don't tune in for Mike Pereira. Somebody at the network's got to understand. These guys you're bringing in, no one wants to see them.
Dean Blandino?
They do it on the college side, too, when they go to the replay booth. They do it for the ACC.
Right.
Every game Miami ever plays goes to the ACC replay booth, and it's 3 dudes sitting in a studio. They have no idea.
Quickly circling back around on the catch. Remember Judkins? Penn State fans wanted a fumble on that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So
let's flip to the NFC really quick. The Lions, of course, are head and shoulders above the rest.
I think so, but the Niners are
wide open.
Yeah, Niners are finally getting healthy. McCaffrey's going to play on Sunday for the first time this year, and they're loaded.
Shanahan's good after a bye.
I think
Colin
they're
likes
very
the Rams,
good
though. Colin loves the Rams.
Really
in that
I'm in on the Rams. I am in on the Rams.
I'm going to tell you something. Last week's game proved to me that they're ready. They're another team that's getting healthy.
And they've had a lot of gutsy games. Well, they were right in it against the Packers, too. Oh, they've had a couple tough breaks.
Are you guys buying the Falcons?
Yes.
For that division, yeah.
Get me involved. Another over. I took.
So, Dad,
9.5.
You know who else is playing? I mean, I got to admit, their record isn't great, but Baker's playing pretty good football
we're Baker
right
Bros.
now.
I've made my amends.
They can't stay in front of a brick wall. They stink defensively.
Baker and I have made our amends.
And I'm surprised at Bowles, that kind of a defense.
Yep.
You know, that guy's a great defensive
And talk about
coach.
somebody who did the wrong decision just on Monday about not going for 2.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you get burned. No wonder you got burned. You give him Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback of this generation outside of Brady.
I wouldn't. And the other thing is, these guys got to work the clock all the way down with these teams like Lamar. If you're playing Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, you better leave them 4 seconds.
Yeah, what I was going to say, if there was 38 seconds left in last night's game, if they went for 2 and got it, they had 2 timeouts in 38 seconds with the leg of Justin Tucker. That game was not.
I give Cincy credit, though, man. They gave Baltimore all they could handle. They really did. On the road.
Sure
on the
did.
road.
And now they're in some trouble.
Give me your Super Bowl right now.
I was a Lions guy before the year.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with the Lions. The thing is, I want to go outside of the Chiefs in the AFC.
Who did you root for growing up?
I'm a Jaguars fan.
Dad, his teams are funny.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick rundown.
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars for the NFL.
How does a kid from New York get
So I hate New York. I mean, I grew up in Connecticut near the New York side,
Yeah.
so everybody's either a Giant fan or a Patriot fan.
Oh, okay.
Or Jets, of course. So I hated all of that. I like to root against them. I liked being the contrarian in that bunch. So I needed a team. It was about 2012, 2013 when Blake Bortles was getting drafted at UCF. And Allen Robinson was at Penn State, and I loved Allen Robinson.
Okay.
So that's when I needed a team. I needed a small market team that nobody else rooted
Tommy
for.
Coughlin was down there. They were good.
That was yeah, of course. Then it came back, and it was a disaster. That's neither here nor there. But Bortles gets drafted. Allen Robinson gets drafted. Then I was in on them.
Baseball.
Oakland Athletics. My dad is a San Francisco Giant fan.
Giant fan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, screw that. Let's go across the bay. So, formerly, the Oakland A's or my team.
My grandparents lived in San Jose for 18 years. Used to go see them every summer. We'd go to the Coliseum, which is still there. The Oakland Alameda County Stadium,
which is dumb.
I went there in the
location.
I went there in the 70s, Colin.
Oh, in the great
70s.
years. The great years, 72, 73,
yes,
74.
when they were winning World Series.
Oh, they were outstanding.
They had white shoes. When we were kids growing up, we all thought they were cool. They had white shoes.
They were great. And then, they, of course, in the 89, 90, they were in the mix, too. So, but nowadays, that's a disaster of a franchise. Don't even get me started.
And then wait for his NBA team.
Charlotte Hornets. I'm a big UConn basketball fan.
Oh, okay.
And Kemba Walker at a UConn was a big component. My brother was at UConn
I forget
as well.
how young you are.
Yeah,
2002.
That's
2002.
his. Hang on, if I'm being honest, that's his team. UConn. UConn's his team.
UConn's my team. And Wisconsin, I'm very hit or miss on. So Wisconsin kind of drives me
Dad,
nuts.
if you want to get him going, ask him about Greg Gard.
Should fire him yesterday. I'm
ask
over
him,
Greg Gard.
Ask him about Greg Gard.
He refuses to pay people in NIL, so what does he do? He goes to like Estonia and the Netherlands and Australia and New Zealand to get players because these guys don't understand that they can make money playing college basketball. So that's what he does because they get no NIL money. And he's sitting there losing every big game. The only way he got to the second weekend of the tournament was with a Bo Ryan team when Bo Ryan left.
The only guy, to his point, Colin, their only player that came back was Kesmet.
That's
it. Sorry. He was the only guy who came back.
Who's from God knows where, Wisconsin. Neenah, Wisconsin he's from. He's from Neenah, Wisconsin. He went to Wofford.
And he doesn't get the big Wisconsin guys. Podzinski. Remember Pods?
Yeah,
he went to
and they got the kid who's on Iowa
Underwood.
State. And they got the kid who's on Iowa State now. I'm losing his name. Milos Edretovic.
Oh, God, you're right.
And they got him, and he's a Wisconsin guy. Con Kneipel's a Wisconsin guy.
Yep.
He's at Duke.
Yep.
They're a disaster. So I'm over on that. But those are my teams, and I don't know. That was
odd grouping for
you.
Yeah,
it is. We got to get to break here, but Tony,
guys, I'm exhausted.
I appreciate
tired.
It's a whole lot of fun for you.
Need some water,
dude. I do you guys need to give me water over
I
here.
appreciate you taking the time to join us from away from pool time. We
loved it.
You missed the afternoon shower, so I think we got you out of the good time.
You had the perfect view for it.
Yeah,
so.
but of course, Tony Rizzo of ESPN Cleveland, the really big show, 9 to 1 weekdays. Make sure you can catch that. Thank you for joining us. Of course, that was a little fun.
My pleasure,
to
guys.
have Rizzo squared with us here. But Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat, of course, at the top of the hour. We'll get to some 5 and 5 next. Stick around. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Huddle up at Hurricane Grill and Wings, where every day is game day. Dig into fan favorite dishes and new shareables, including carne asada loaded fries, honey hot wings, and boom boom sliders. Try our new cocktails like the Spicy Guavarita and Red Bullerita, or enjoy bucket specials featuring Miller Lite, Modelo Especial, and High Noon during all pro and college football games. Grab your friends and family and swing by Hurricane Grill and Wings to see what everyone's cheering about. Visit hurricanewings.com to find a restaurant nearest you.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Hey, it's your boy JC reminding you to go on YouTube right now. Hit subscribe on Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The best from sports, stupidity, and social media. Exclusive on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Hit subscribe now.
It's time to save thousands during the model year-end sales event at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. The new 2025 Kias are on the ground, which means the 2024s need to go. A new 2024 Kia Forte LXS for only $149 per month. Make no payments until next year. Plus, we want your trade. You can get up to $6,000 over Kelley Blue Book fair market value for any trade. And if you have a job bringing home $350 per week, we want to improve your credit so you can drive home your new Kia today. Only at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. Call 800-NEW-KIAs or visit online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com. Qualified applicants through KFA, 24-month lease, $34.99 due at signing, 10,000 miles per year, 0 security deposit required, plus tax tag and $9.99 admin fee. Negative equity refinanced. 90 days deferred payments. Interest accrues from date of purchase. Discount includes all factory rebates to dealer. Offers don't combine. Expires 11/5/24.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
This Thanksgiving, don't let extra pounds steal your joy. At HexisMD.com, enjoy the feast without fear of calories sticking around. They offer semaglutide and trizepatide. No insurance needed. Picture yourself feeling lighter and more energized. Give yourself the gift of confidence and health this holiday season. Join thousands already transforming their lives. Visit HexisMD.com today. That's HEXISMD.com. Your partner in a healthier, happier you.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
It's the Good Greek Spiro. For the best move ever, go to goodgreek.com.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Time now for a PNC pause. PNC Bank is committed to making a difference in the lives of the customers they serve in the South Florida community. See how at PNC.com. You're listening to ESPN 1063.
Attention business owners, the next several months are going to be super busy. Why not let us take some of the burden off of you? Get the help you need from Intelligent Office in Palm Beach Gardens. Professional live receptionists to answer, screen, and forward all of your calls to you live. Why do you need a virtual assistant? No high salaries, no holidays or sick pay, no call-outs, no turnover, and no additional equipment. Call 561-472-8400 or visit intelligentoffice.com to learn more how we can help you streamline your day.
Hurricane fans, the final game of the season is here. Join us on November 23rd at Hard Rock Stadium as the Hurricanes take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. It's Senior Day, a day to honor the incredible players who have given their all to the U. Let's give them a send-off they'll never forget and fill the stadium with Hurricanes pride. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today by visiting MiamiHurricanes.com or by calling 1-800-GO-CANES.
Palm Beach County's premier college football event is back. Don't miss the 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, Wednesday, December 18th from FAU Stadium and broadcast live on ESPN. Last year's game saw in-state Rising Power USF beat Syracuse out of the ACC. What will this year's game have in store? Big names, big teams, big action. The 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, December 18th at FAU Stadium on ESPN. Don't miss out. Find out more at BocaRatonBowl.com.
ESPN 1063 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law. Call 1-800-FL-LEGAL and visit one of our offices throughout Florida.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Second hour of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat behind the glass. Live from the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. The 8th of November, a Friday edition. Packed weekend of sports ahead. You got the Cavs taking on the Warriors tonight. We'll be into
Big
that.
one.
Of course, you got North Carolina, Kansas. You got the Lions, Texans on Sunday Night Football. You got, of course, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss. Packed slate. Tony Rizzo of The Really Big Show and ESPN Cleveland. Mike's father joined us last hour. Talked about a slew of things. We did everything.
Everything. There wasn't a thing we missed. I really, honestly got thinking there was not a thing we missed. We talked NFL. We talked Cleveland, the little amount that we
missed?
What did we miss?
Guardians. That's what we missed.
Yeah, we did miss the Yankee series. He was at 2 of the games. What's there to say other than it was a tremendous disappointment? You want to know what you should have asked him is my take that I had, because he would have lit me up. Remember what he told? I told you what he said. He said I sounded like a young man with a bad take.
Wow,
that's what he told me. Young man with a bad take trying to force a hot take.
That's what happened.
What he said.
C-Cat, what's going on? How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for the invite, fellas.
Well, now you're invited.
Yeah, that's what I said. So thanks for the invite.
All right, let's have some fun here on Russo and Rizzo. Let's get to the 5 and 5.
Number 1.
Well, the NFL weekend kicked off in full power last night. A thriller between the Bengals and Ravens. Which game or games are you most looking forward to this weekend?
One game I'm very interested in is because we might allude to it, but this might be like a little bit of a buy game, get into it, is that Alabama-LSU game. Mm-hmm. You haven't seen Alabama now. They've had a week off. I think both teams have a lot of flaws. Alabama is just inconsistent completely offensively. LSU, I'm not in on Garrett Nussmeier at all. But they played tough in some big-time games, whether that Ole Miss game or A&M go down the list. But I think this is going to be a game that has a lot of implication in terms of the college football playoff, so I'm into that for sure.
Yep, and we'll talk more about that one coming up here in a couple of stories. For me, I'm going to stick in the NFL. Dude, this Steeler and Commander game really has me intrigued.
Yeah,
at
it's
1
an
o'clock.
intriguing game for sure.
I wanted us to take Washington 2.5. My dad mentioned that 3-0 under Russell Wilson, and I think something's got to give for that Steeler team. I think when the weekend is over, they're going to be 6-3, and the Ravens are going to be 7-3, and things are going to start getting interesting in that AFC North. And then on the Commanders side, on the flip side, it speaks to how I think they have just completely blown any expectation on war. I know I touched on this a lot yesterday, so I won't talk about it a lot. But if the Commanders move to 8-2, like how I think they are, you got to tip your cap to Dan Quinn, Jane Daniels, and everything going on.
You already have
right,
to.
Right.
But Steelers and the Bears, one of the only two teams in the NFL who haven't played a divisional game yet. So they have rough sledding coming up in their latter half of the schedule, especially the Bears in that great division. So you're going to see the true colors, for better or worse, on the Bears, on the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to hang around. They're probably going to be in that 10-win range, and that'll get them in. As for the Bears, I think the Bears are in a really tricky spot, especially with that great division.
And then obviously one more for us, the Lions and the Texans.
It's gonna be a great game.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a great game. The Lions might
awesome.
steamroll them, but you got to see if the Texans, if Nico Collins can play, whether they're going to show up and give them a fight. The Lions have been embarrassing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a nerve-wracking game.
CJ's been taking a lot of heat for kind of having a quote-unquote sophomore slump. 11 touchdowns, 4 picks, 2,100 yards, not having like the superstar year that he had in his first year. So
he hasn't been good. He hasn't been good.
Very intrigued how he lines up against that secondary.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Well, Jamar Chase had a night for the ages, even though it wasn't his best career high as a pro. Still, 17 targets, 11 catches, 264 yards, and 3 tutties. As he proven himself, Jamar Chase, to be the best receiver in football and worthy of the giant contract he was asking for.
He's unbelievable, but
He really is.
I've seen this game from him before. Like, he just has a couple outbursts, 3 or 4 a year, where he's just unguardable, and down the field, vertical threat, 3-4 touchdowns. He gets the ball every possession.
And Colin, sorry to cut you off,
Please.
but I swear they lose more often than not when he has games like this. Insanity. How do you lose? That's my biggest thing.
Did you see him post-game talking about how he was opening that two-point
Burrow
conversion?
misses them, and
Hold on, Jamar. You had 18 targets. What do you want, 25? Let's start thinking a little objectively about how to run an offense at this point. That was a little much.
Want to actually hear what it sounded like when he was asked about it post-game?
Yeah, you got it there. Here's Jamar Chase post-game talking about him being available and open.
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like that as a receiver, you should want the ball, yes, but, sometimes Joe don't see it,
Sometimes Joe don't see it.
I understand I understand why it's getting a lot of run today. Him and Burrow have a different relationship, though. They played together in college. They know each other well. I don't think that was a shot. I think that just shows how comfortable they are with each other.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Wait, doesn't it just strike you so much ego? So much ego.
Of course. Colin, it's that position.
Yeah.
It's that position. Jefferson does the same stuff.
He's less problematic than Jamar is, but I understand your point. Like, this just, dude.
I think, too, Kyle, with Chase and Jefferson, because they're 1A and B. Like, I understand CeeDee Lamb had that great year last year. Chase is just such, like...
He's dynamic.
I feel like Jay Jettas is what they called him at LSU. My cousin Blake, giant LSU guy. Justin is more of a target man, physical wide receiver. Now, he can run. I'm not saying he's slow by any means. And to your point, Chase is that vertical threat. I think they're the best in their league in their own tiers. Jamar is the best vertical threat. I'm going to get open no matter what. Justin is
probably the best overall.
And Justin is the big target. I'm going to catch it over two guys and make an insane catch. Chase is just such a dynamic player.
Yeah, I would, just off of the higher floor consistency, I would probably lean the Jefferson route. But those are the two best. There's no doubt about it. It's not Tyreek Hill. It's not CeeDee Lamb. It's not any of those guys. And it's not St. Brown. It's those two.
And finally, wrapping this up, I see a ton of Jamar Chase and Malik Neighbors. Agreed? Problem is he's got Danny Dimes.
It's weird. It's hard to gauge because Jamar was put in and immediately put as that vertical deep threat, and he had the quarterback there. Daniel Jones is not going to chuck it deep 100 times a game, but he's going to give it to Malik Neighbors. That guy, 12 targets, 15 targets a game. So they go to him a whole lot. But those LSU receivers, they churn them out like butter. It's unbelievable.
Them and the Buckeyes.
Every year there's somebody new. But he's great. I can't say he's Jamar yet because Jamar was immediately great.
Nonetheless, I see flashes of it.
Totally. Number 3.
Number 3.
Talked about this earlier in the week, but the biggest game of the weekend on the college football slate is Bama at LSU. Will the winner of this game make the playoff?
Yeah, I wanted to take it a step further, Kyle. I know you had it as your must-watch. We made our list of who we think is going to make the college football playoff. The schedules, I think, match up. Whoever wins this game, I truly believe will make the college football playoff as the last team out of the SEC because you're already behind the sticks having 2 losses.
Yeah, they're not putting in a 3-loss team. Forget it.
No.
And I think what the college football playoff committee showed you with that first ranking is if you're not Big Ten, if you're not SEC, and you're not winning your conference championship, forget it.
I think
forget it.
Clemson would have got some votes.
Would have, but now
they didn't win. Obviously,
now
they're
not
done.
A chance.
They're done now. But they would have gotten votes if they were 10-1.
You might have had a decision if 2 undefeateds, Iowa State and BYU were there. That you might have had a conversation, but none.
Colin, the only way a 3-loss team gets in is if they somehow sneak into their conference championship game
and steal a game
and win. That's the only way.
The only bid stealing scenario I think I could conjure up, other than maybe one of the strange Big 12 teams, but I think if BYU advances to that Big 12 championship game undefeated and loses, I don't think they get a bid. Now, Miami, on the other hand, if Miami gets to that ACC title game undefeated, loses to SMU, let's say in a classic, Miami probably still gets a bid.
Which
that would be the situation in which a bid is stolen, and that last SEC team would probably get screwed out.
Here's why should Miami and I know Kane fans are going to lose their minds on me. Why should they get in if they lose? I could argue that's the only team they played all year.
The one thing I'll say is they're going to have the Heisman favorite, and that makes a difference.
It helps. Won't argue that, but I think a lot of people, Colin, in the SEC and the Big Ten who have teams that are on the fringe, and if Miami loses, their argument is going to be they lost to the only good team they played all year.
Yeah.
And is SMU, if they lose to SMU, I think we have to have a serious conversation if SMU is even a good team as well.
SMU is solid, but I agree. Like, it's not the level of what you see in the SEC. But I think that Miami would probably get benefit of the doubt there because of the brand, because of the quarterback, because of the allure. I think they want to see Miami in that game comparatively to a 2 or 3 loss LSU or something like that, or even if it's one of those smaller Big Ten teams. Indiana would get screwed in a second if they had an opportunity to do that.
Oh, yeah. And I'm hoping for it, honestly.
You're out on Cignetti. I am in on Cignetti.
I don't understand how people think they're going to beat the Buckeyes, and I guess it scares me, Colin. I guess the fact that you're so high on them.
A week ago, you were ready.
You're so high on them. It scares me because you're starting to think that we might lose that game. Or excuse me, that the Buckeyes might lose that game at home.
I think they'll compete because I think it's their Super Bowl. I don't know if they'll win.
And I come to find out, my old man, my dad's in on him too.
He's in.
You want to know why he's in? And I didn't want to say this because he's Italian. His Signetti is Italian. That's why he's in.
Number 4.
Well, my New York Yankees, they picked up Aaron Boone's contract.
Yeah, did you see this?
Manager.
This flew under the radar today.
Aaron Boone's contract option is picked up by the Yankees, and he will officially be back with the Bronx Bombers next year. Was this the right move for the Yankees?
What else are you going to do? But I understand it.
It sounds like they need a scapegoat, and he's going to be that eventually if they continue losing. The one thing I'll say...
Continue losing. They made the World Series for the first time in 15 years.
Continue losing in a big spot. How's that? Is there a rebuttal to that?
And hang on.
They weren't in the big spot last year.
Well, they're the New York Yankees. They have $500 million invested into the payroll. Of course they're going to be in a big spot.
More fuel to Collins' take. How many times did I have to hear how bad my Guardians and the whatever the heck was left over in the AL is? Like, I get it. I get why Booney was brought back. Obviously, going into the World Series, I asked you guys, is there a chance any of these managers aren't back next year?
Yeah.
Clearly, that's not the case. I just wonder, what is the roster going to look like? All right, Boone's back, fine. How much of the World Series was Boone's fault, though? Like, I don't think, outside of Game 1 where he threw Cortez to the Wolves, we still don't understand why he did that.
He had a couple of mishandled situations, but I understand.
But it's like, what did you want him to do when Freddie Freeman is going to hit a home run every first inning?
And all those bats are half asleep at the wheel of that back half.
And after your top 5, they're automatic outs.
Yeah.
Like your 1 through 5 was good.
The one thing you could blame Boone for is he did not prioritize defensive fundamentals, and it ended up burning them. The Yankees got away with it in the AL. They got away with it in the regular season because of the power hitting and Judge's heroics. And then all of a sudden, when things dial down and things tighten up, the Dodgers, the writing was on the wall with them. Let the Yankees make their mistakes because we know they will. And good teams made them pay, and that's exactly what happened.
If I hear one more Yankee fan complain about Gleyber Torres, they can't bring that guy back.
No one's complaining about Gleyber Torres because his name is Gleyber Torres. That's why no one's complaining about Gleyber.
Struck a nerve there.
Yeah, you
struck a nerve there.
Torres is not coming to your birthday party.
My God. Struck a nerve there. All year I had to hear about how bad he is in the field. He doesn't have a bat when it in the sweaty palm times. All right, who are you getting?
Go get somebody. I don't disagree. I mean, they're probably going to move Chisholm to second and go get somebody to play somewhere else in the infield, whether that's somebody at third or somebody at short. Not a lot of third basemen out there. That's the big problem. Let's get to number 5.
Number 5.
North Carolina and Kansas play tonight in Lawrence. A couple of blue bloods. Are we looking at 2 Final Four caliber teams?
Now, I didn't get to watch Kansas their first game when they played God knows who knows. But they have A.J. Storr, who's a former Wisconsin guy who was transferred, 7 schools in 7 years, including high school. He was at St. John's his freshman year of college, then Wisconsin, now Kansas, and he was at 4 different high schools in 4 years. That, to me, is a major wave the red flag if you're an NBA team. That's number 1. But number 2, Hunter Dickinson's been in college for, I think since the Obama administration. And so I we'll see how he does. And North Carolina, R.J. Davis, another guy who's been there forever. Good game. I'm going to be into it. I don't know if both these teams are Final Four good because it's going through UConn. But there's a lot. The one thing I've noticed about college basketball, there's a lot of really good teams this year.
There are.
Auburn's really good. Houston's once again going to be good. UConn's going to be well in the thick of it. You got the North Carolinas. The Duke's going to be finally really good again. It's going to be a tough year.
It is. And even, I fair weather root for the Kentucky Wildcats. Love Kentucky basketball. I liked what I saw in Game 1 from Pope. Now, I know they played Little Sisters of the Poor. But you're pretty high on them too.
I think they're gonna have a good year. I don't know about great, but they're gonna have a good year.
Circling back around to this game, they have the talent to go to the Final Four. That's why I like March Madness so much. You never know what's going to happen. 2 years ago, Colin, I hated the Final Four. Obviously, you didn't because UConn was in it.
It wasn't a great Final Four. It was a good game though between FAU and San Diego State. But that UConn-Miami game stunk, and the UConn-San Diego State game stunk.
And don't get me wrong, FAU. I know they're local here, and we loved the run. And I love the Dutcher from San Diego State.
How can't
you love the Dutcher? But they have the talent to go on a run. Dickinson's been there a long time. Colin, another one is R.J. Davis. I had to, like I told you the other day, I had to clean out the windshield wipers to make sure that was still R.J. Davis running around on the court.
Yeah, he graduated high school with me. I remember.
So
he was at Stepinac in White Plains, New York.
Yeah, so I think both these teams are great. Looking forward to the game. A.J. Storr, 15 minutes. He played 15 minutes at 5 points in game 1 for the Jayhawks. A 30-point win for the Kansas Jayhawks over the Howard Bison.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. That's an interesting game. I love when Auburn plays Houston tomorrow night. So that's going to be interesting as well. So
Bruce Pearl always has a solid team.
And so does Kelvin Sampson with Houston as well. So I'm interested in that one as well. UConn's got New Hampshire. Let's get to number 5.
Number 5.
That was number 5.
That was number 5.
Number 5.
Good call on my part on Russo and Rizzo. Of course, I think we're talking to Fat Jack next. No news is good news with him. So we'll hear from him in just a few short moments. In the meantime, November 8th, about a week, little and change since November has begun. Means my beard's coming in a little thicker every single day. The red's starting to come in. I'm not sure if you could tell. Definitely can't tell on the video stream at ESPN West Palm on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. But I'm growing out my facial hair for No Shave November, for the 9th annual No Shave November fundraising event. It's begun. This event was created not only to bring more awareness to men's cancer issues, but also to raise money for Cancer Alliance the Cancer Alliance of Help and Hope, which is an amazing local nonprofit organization right here in South Florida and Palm Beach County. The event itself, of course, began on November 1st, but it ends with a live shave-off happy hour, which is on December 3rd from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the iBar at PGA National. If you want to, I'm actually fundraising personally on my personal account, so I don't have a goal in mind, but of course, this is for cancer patients in the Palm Beach County area. So if you want to consider donating, all you got to do is text MEN9, no spaces, just a capital M, MEN9 to 71777. That's MEN9 to 71777. I would greatly appreciate if anybody would consider donating. Of course, it should be fun. We'll see how raggedy my beard gets by the end of this, or about 8 days in. It's going to be a long month. I can tell already. It's already getting annoying, too.
This is, and folks, this has been your quote-unquote #beard check.
Friday edition of the Beard Check, No Shave November. I think we're going to talk to Fat Jack of FatJackSports.com. We're going to give him our thoughts on the lines this week, see what the plays are, see where the trends are. Stick around. Russo Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hi, I'm Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. As you have likely seen and heard, law firm advertising is at an all-time high. Attorney ads seem to be part of every radio and TV commercial segment. Some firms are even using paid actors and actresses to speak for them. At Smith Ball Baez and Prather, we know that the decision to hire a law firm should never be based on advertisements alone. It is our past results and many positive 5-star reviews that we encourage you to read at smithball.com to learn more about our law firm. We have board-certified lawyers. We have lawyers listed in the best lawyers in America and in super lawyers. But most importantly, we have experienced lawyers located right here in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast that are ready to be your advocate and your voice, and fully prepared to start fighting for your legal rights today. Our purpose, legal power. Our mission, huge results. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
There's something that binds us all. The constant hunger to improve. The obsession with every detail. And the reward of a custom fitting taking your game to a whole new level. We're all bound by 2 words said by golfers worldwide. Schedule your fitting at Edwin Watts Golf Shops. Find your local store at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Improve your golf game fast at the all-new Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center has the facilities, tools, and coaching you need. Enjoy the best facilities in the area with an expansive chipping and putting area, practice bunkers, a huge putting green, plus a 2,000 square foot indoor training area with 3 hitting bays, cutting-edge analysis technology, and more. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center in the heart of Palm Beach County off I-95 and the Turnpike. Find out more at KaiserGolfCenter.com.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
As market dynamics change, the quality of service you receive from your accounting firm shouldn't. Partner-owned since 1923, Anshin Accountants and Advisors take time to get to know you and your unique circumstances to help resolve complex issues and develop innovative tax and accounting solutions. If you're a business owner or high net worth individual eager for a strategy to maximize tax savings, let Anshin recalculate what's possible. Visit ANCHIN.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, delivering value where others can't.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Hey, it's your boy JC reminding you to go on YouTube right now. Hit subscribe on Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The best from sports, stupidity, and social media. Exclusive on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Hit subscribe now.
Prepared to shelter in place.
This is ESPN 106.3.
It's a massive storm, 1,000 miles across.
Your home for Miami Hurricanes football. Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo continuing on here on a Friday edition, the 8th of November, live from the City Place Studios. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, producing the program today. We did our punchline picks yesterday during Blitz the Book, presented by Hard Rock Bet. We made our picks of the week. Hot start. Took the Bengals +6 last night. I'd like to welcome in the expert, Fat Jack at FatJackSports.com. You join Russo and Rizzo now. Fat Jack, what's going on? Good to hear from you. What's going on?
Also on a very hot start. 11-4 last week in football. 4-1 on Sunday, and players props 14-5. So if you just played the football last week, you went 25-9. So $100 a game, you won whatever that is, $1,400 or so, just in 1 week with the football. And the props were 8-4 in basketball to start November. Everything's posted and documented under the results tab, and we had a loser last night, had over, looked under the entire game until the fourth quarter, and then everybody quit playing defense, and the thing flew over the total. So excited to get back on track going tonight. 10 plays have already gone out for this weekend, so excited about that. How'd the MAC play? You took a break from the MAC. What did we do last week? What was the play you sent me to last week?
We didn't do a MAC pick last week. We were on a hiatus.
Brother. And then guess what? Fat Jack, you there? We're on another hiatus this weekend. So
we had a good week last week.
Yeah,
we went
we did.
5-2, so we're okay with this. But I think we're off on it for now. We'll make a pick before the end of the year. I don't know where you are. Where are you right now? Are you in LA?
No, I wish I was in LA. I left Vegas last night. My mom has dementia. She's in Oklahoma, so I came here and I'm dealing with her for a day. Yeah, and then I go back to my wife's down there at a girls' trip right now on the boat. Probably, hopefully, listen to the show, but maybe not. She already knows my picks. So,
you think she's listening on the boat?
She's definitely not listening on the boat.
I was about to say.
They just left the Chart House. Where'd they go today? They went to the Chart House to eat over on PGA. They went to TJ Maxx over there on PGA.
Spending your money. Spending your money, Fat Jack.
Yeah, exactly. TJ Maxx, listen, they could do worse. I mean, TJ Maxx has a lot of great deals, so they're bargain shoppers at least. So I told them to go by Waterway and see if it was making its way to being back reopened. It's literally like taking off my arm. You guys, have you ever been to Waterway Cafe? Probably not. Since you've been
Waterway
down
Cafe, okay. No, I'll make a note of it though.
They were totally remodeling. It's on PGA and the Intercoastal there. Really good food, great place, good vibes. And they're remodeling the whole thing. They took it back down to the studs. But one of my favorite places in West Palm, so I don't think it's open yet again. Though. So
right.
Go by. Duffy's is great too. I love Duffy's. But yeah, if you want a new sponsor, go by Tell Waterway. They need to get on the show.
There's our rec from Fat Jack. We look forward to you getting us some burgers, and we're waiting on that. But we'll get into this weekend's slate of college football. We got a couple that we like. There's a couple big games that I want to get your thoughts on. Let's start in this Georgia game. Georgia minus 2.5 at Ole Miss. I like Georgia in this game. We both took it in our punchline picks. What say you in this one?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you talk about the SEC, it's been this way for years where in the Big Ten, you look at Penn State as a team that can beat a bunch of bad teams, beats okay teams, lose to good teams. How is Ole Miss not exactly that? I understand that Georgia's variance is a lot greater this year, as is Alabama. Variance being how good they can play compared to how bad they can play. Normally, you kind of know what you're getting in November from Georgia and Alabama. This year, it's a lot greater, gap there. But I'm not willing to put Ole Miss in that same category until they do it. And so it's a lot like Penn State last week. I want to be proven to me that they can beat a great team. Georgia, a small favorite here. Ole Miss really good defensively, top 10 in the country. Their pass rush is next level good. Sacks are in the top 10. So they will provide some problems, especially at home. But until further notice, them and Alabama, LSU, I'm not going to put LSU or Ole Miss in the same category as Alabama and Georgia simply because I'm getting the better athletes and I'm getting good value in the line based on how this year has gone. People look back and say, well, what about Vanderbilt? What about this game? What about that game? When they play good teams, most of the time, these teams will show up. You'll get their best effort. That's good enough to cover both those numbers, both at night in Death Valley and in this one against Ole Miss. I like Georgia. I like Alabama.
Fat Jack, not a lot of good games in the Big Ten, but one Big Ten game we did take is Indiana. They've been respecting cash. We took them at 14.5.
Yeah, it's not an easy line, but
it's
we're
not
high
an
in
easy
Indiana.
line.
What do you think
but,
here?
But Fat Jack, I told myself, I'm like, this is the school of Fat Jack. What teams score a lot and what teams don't score a lot. Indiana scores a lot. They're at home. Michigan doesn't score a lot. They're on the road. They're 5-4.
You're exactly right. And you want to get in the way of a freight train? I mean, you're exactly right. If you either play Indiana or you don't play it. Because exactly what you said, 10 turns into 17, turns into 24 when you can't score on the other end. And how good is it? We don't know how good Indiana is. Yeah, they played a bunch of nobodies, but they're rolling nobodies, and they're outperforming the market every week. They're 8-1 against the spread, best in the country, 5-0 the last 5 games against the number. Why? The general public's never going to jump on. This is never going to be a darling. This is not going to like Detroit in the NFL, where people just all of a sudden decided, who, by the way, is on a historical run covering the number of, you go back 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
But even like that, where people have jumped on and said, oh, my gosh, I love Indiana's the team. They're never going to do that because they're not playing anybody that's good. Even with this win and cover, they're going to make excuses of why Michigan can't get it in the end zone and blah, blah, blah. So I'm with you. You don't get in front of a freight train in November. Indiana is absolutely a freight train. Play Indiana or you don't touch the game.
I like that. All right, how about this? We got to touch on it. You know we love our service academies. Army, I know the quarterback, Bryson Daly, is sort of questionable. They were hoping to get him back this week. They still won last week. They're only -4 coming out of the bye here against North Texas. Do you have a thought on this one or no?
Yeah, so I do because of the number. Okay, so here's the deal in November. This week and next week, you're going to get a couple of these teams. So either you're going to get teams like Kansas beating Iowa State. You're the 17th ranked team in the country, even coming off a loss versus Kansas won like 2 games all year at a very small number. Or Army under a touchdown to North Texas that has been – you want to talk about variance. Their good is pretty good. Their bad is really bad. And so – but this number is really low. If you're walking up to the window, there's only one side most of the general public's going to play. You're either playing Army, you're staying off, or you're playing Iowa State, you're staying off. Look for a couple of those type teams to get beat this week, and that is an opportunity there. Army, we've talked about incredibly good, not only straight up, but against the number. But that number tells me, and I did not release this game. I don't love this game. What I would do is I would play under. There's a couple of these spots this week that the total's over 60, and you're getting teams that for a couple of different reasons can keep scoring down. I would put Tennessee and Mississippi State in this same game, where you've got a couple of ways that teams would be able to hold scoring down, and you have trends to the under that are pretty strong. This year in all of college football, guys, totals over 60. All right, so you get a total anywhere over 60. The under has hit almost 67% of the time, 94 and 55 to the under when you have totals over 60. So these games that people think are going to go over are not. The line is baked in to the speculation that scoring would be high. It's cashing on these unders. Tennessee hasn't given up 20 points a game in any of their games this year, and that number is 60, 61, somewhere in there. So I go under there, and I'd also stay under in the Army North Texas game for that same reason. Army, everything they do is not going to score a ton of points if they get some defensive resistance, which they should if Vegas is right about where this number is. If this number was 12 or 13, the thing could be 49-14 Army. But because it's supposed to be close, that is a lower scoring contest if it stays close, in my opinion. So I would take the under in that one as well.
Yes, you're saying be wary because Vegas has that number at 4, and because of that, you should almost follow along and take the hint on the wall.
The easier way to say it's not a trap. People say, oh, my gosh, Vegas is trapping. They're not trapping. They're just factoring in information that you and I might not be factoring in. And anytime that's happening, just acknowledge the fact that sometimes Vegas knows that their power rating is correct on some of these squads. That if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Motto, which we were talking about 5 or 10 years ago when nobody was gambling. Now people are breaking it down, but they're saying, okay, that's a trap spot. Vegas is trying to get you on. They're not. Hard Rock doesn't care, but they're factoring, and they know there's sharp players that are going to factor in some things that they believe this game's going to be a lot closer than what the general public who's just casually watching North Texas and Army would believe. And so just acknowledge that. Be okay with that information. Don't just throw your money away thinking you're smarter than guys sitting the line. So, yeah, I play North Texas or don't play it, and definitely the under is a good spot.
Fat Jack, my buddy Zach texting me asking you to ask you about the Florida and Texas game. It's a big line for Texas. Florida's played pretty well over the last couple of weeks. I got 21.5 on Hard Rock in favor of Texas. Should you touch Florida in this one, who's looked pretty strong?
They have, and they've been covering a bunch. I would not touch them this week. I think that this is and the number, again, tells me that Vegas thinks this thing is out of hand. And Texas is one of those teams when their offense is clicking and you get one-dimensional with what you have to do offensively. So let's envision the third quarter into the fourth quarter. Texas is up 17-24. Florida's running out of possessions. They can't run the football anymore. They have to drop back and throw it. They become very predictable. That's not a good spot. That's when 17 turns into 24, turns into 31. So if the number was lower and there was supposed to be some type of close game, I would look at the fact that Florida's been outperforming the market. They gave their coach an extension or at least a vote of confidence. And this is a team that is running through a brutally tough schedule at this point. But coming off a bye, Texas needs to not only win, they need to win big. This is one of those spots that it would look really good on their resume if they were to blow out Florida. So if they can, they will. They get the game at home. I go ahead and lay the points and play the Longhorns in that one.
Oh, wow. How about that? Last one here on the college side of things. BYU, Utah, the holy war, the Battle of the Mormons, whatever you want to call it, Battle of Utah. BYU's -3 in this one. Coming off a bye, we took BYU. We love our undefeateds here. But we have our consistent plays, BYU being one of them. What's your takeaway here?
Dude, this will be a whiteout having nothing to do with what's on the shirt. So there's going to be an African-American in the stadium. I mean, this is going to be so white up there. I've been to Utah at these games, and listen, I don't want to have any part of this from a betting standpoint. I'm just saying that I know a ton of friends that are Mormons, but this thing here is going to be a battle to the end, but I don't want any part of it because I haven't been right on. Who's been right on BYU this year?
We have.
This team does.
We have.
You have. Hey, congratulations. Get yourself a sling and put your arm in it because that is impressive.
So, Fat Jack, we have a thing with we call it our lock. We've made BYU our lock twice already, and they've covered both times.
Yeah, it was UCF and the Baylor game, so we're high on Jake Retzlaff and company.
That's our guy.
We're taking them again.
Retzlaff's our guy.
We're taking them again, Fat Jack.
Dude, I love this team, honestly. And this is every year you get this in basketball too. They're older kids, all right. Some of them have kids. They're men a lot of times.
They're married. Yes.
That's what I mean. These kids, they're married, and but it's different. So they're not giving. They don't care what the preseason rankings are. These guys are getting out there and they're getting their best effort all the time. Utah, totally different animal because of the injuries, certainly at quarterback. This number bothers me on how close it is, but I can't. I haven't been right on. I haven't played BYU much this year. I think I'm 1-0
Don't touch
on
him,
the
then.
year, but I haven't.
Stay away.
Yeah.
Don't touch him.
We don't want your bad mojo.
We don't want the Johnny-come-latelys, Fat Jack.
No, yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, that bandwagon is full, and I'm not getting on there. So, yeah, I'll stay away from that one. If I play it, I would go ahead and play BYU, but not at all.
Last one here before we let you go here. Great job you're doing on Russo and Rizzo. Fat Jack at FatJackSports.com joining us. Buffalo against Houston. Houston's getting a long week here. Buffalo, escaped a little bit against Miami last week. They played well, ultimately escaped. -4 in this one against Houston. Houston's battered. Might have Nico Collins back. What's your takeaway here?
Yeah, Miami was one of the 5 last week. We were 4-1. They were one of the 5. So that one, I got there late. I mean, it was one of those that didn't look like they were going to cover, and they did. I think Buffalo does rebound here. Indy's been incredibly good against the spread. 6-1 against the spread their last 7 games. Outperforming the market consistently, but Buffalo, you're going to,
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry. No, I said the Texans.
You said Houston. Yeah. No, I know you said Indy, but Indy outperforming the market consistently, 7-2 on the year against the number 6-1 their last 7. But Buffalo, I think they'll be able to run the football, especially getting Josh Allen out of the pocket some. I think this is a good spot for them. You're getting a little line value with how close the game against Miami was last week. So go ahead and lay the number and play them. Another one that people might not be looking at, but a good spot to maybe make some money under the total in Denver, Kansas City. The last year, Kansas City only had 28 points against this Denver team. I was at the game at Mile High. Denver always plays Kansas City tough, especially their defense versus Patrick Mahomes and company. Denver's also in the top 5 in yards per pass attempt allowed. They get pressure on the quarterback. We're talking prop bets. I think Travis Kelce also has another big game because of that. They get a lot of pressure up front with Denver's front 4. Look for him to get the ball out of his hands early. That's most of the time going to be Kelce. Go over his number of receptions if you're playing those prop bets.
Fat Jack, last thing for me here, partner. I'm big on the Commanders this weekend. We didn't take them, but I like the Commanders 2.5 at home versus the Steelers. What's your take on that?
Yeah, you know what? I think they're overvalued, and I love Mike Tomlin as an underdog. Besides the Hail Mary, Mike Tomlin's incredibly good at covering numbers as a dog. I mean, he's actually the best in the league over his career during that time. So the Russell Wilson, listen, there's some variance that he's going to come back down. You're not going to get the same Russell Wilson we've been getting the last couple of weeks with all this offense. It's another one of those under type spots. But I don't normally, generally speaking, when Pittsburgh gets points against a team that I think has a win or two they probably shouldn't have. They obviously have one win at least they shouldn't have, in most people's opinion. I don't like playing that home team, especially when it's under a field goal, because the general public loves to line up, play favorites, play home favorites, and play home favorites of less than a field goal. Favorites last week, 14-1 straight up, 10-5 against the spread. Look for that to revert back. More dogs than favorites this week going to the NFL.
Appreciate it as always, Fat Jack. We'll talk next week. Thanks for the insight, and look forward to talking again.
Absolutely. Enter coupon code 50, the number 50. Save $50 off any package this weekend of a weekend or longer. So enter code 50, save $50 this weekend only. Have a good week.
Thanks, Fat Jack.
You got it. That's Fat Jack at FatJackSports.com joining us there. He knows where all the action is, but if you want to find the action and be there live in person, especially somewhere around December 18th, Mike can tell you all about it.
Yes, folks, it's the 11th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Get your tickets now by going to BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets. That's BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets. 39 days out until we're at beautiful FAU Stadium in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. Kickoff's at 5:30. Can't wait to see you guys there. We've got a couple of teams that have been floated around that we might be seeing coming up in the 11th annual Boca Raton Bowl. I urge you all to listen to Boca Bowl Weekly coming up next Wednesday. Our very own Cade Chumslin was nice enough, Colin, to get me some data on some teams that we might be seeing, and he gave me some data on some past teams. So we'll take a deep dive into that coming up next Wednesday. Boca Bowl Weekly with Mike Rizzo. Once again, guys, 39 days out, you can secure your tickets at BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets.
Don't miss the Boca Raton Bowl. We close out the program, send you off into the weekend next. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 1063.
PNC Bank is committed to helping the customers and the communities they serve move forward financially. To do this, they're implementing their Community Benefits Plan that focuses on affordable home lending, small business loans, and employee volunteerism, and creating other opportunities to give back on a local level. They're proud to be a part of the South Florida community. See how PNC Bank can make a difference for you at pnc.com/our commitments. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-FREE. Listen, if you're in an accident, car accident, truck accident, slip and fall, trip and fall, injured on the job, workers' comp issues, call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. They will fight for you. They do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation that you know that you deserve. Do not deal with the insurance companies on your own. That's impossible. They make it as such. Anajar and Levine will help you to take back control of your life. Again, you'll always talk about your case with an actual attorney. They answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you to take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Call Anajar and Levine, my accident attorneys. Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Take back control of your life.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Fact Check at FactCheckSports.com joined us last segment. If you missed any of the show today, want to catch it, go to Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Go to Russo and Rizzo, or you can watch us see our pretty faces on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at ESPN West Palm. We got our live streams there. Tony Rizzo joined the program, joined us for the first hour. Had a lot of fun with him. Appreciate him joining, sharing some stories about Mike. Fact Check, of course, giving us his insight into our picks this week. We got a lot of college on the line. We got a lot of undefeated favorites, so we'll see what happens there. We're making our picks thanks to the lines on Hard Rock Bet. Now we're into the second half of football season. You've seen enough about how teams are really shaping up, and there's no better time to try your first bet on Hard Rock Bet. You can bet as little as $1. In Week 6, a bettor in Florida bet $1 on a first touchdown score parlay. 5 different players to score the first touchdown in their game that Sunday. Turned a $1 bet into $40,000. They have parlays for days. In Week 8, on the final Sunday of October, there was Nationals Tight Ends Day. Who would think to put together a parlay? This one bettor did on Hard Rock Bet. He turned $20 into $148,000 betting on 8 different tight ends to all score touchdowns. That is absurd. You can check out the flex parlays. You don't even have to hit every leg. You can change it around. They got so many different types of parlays on the Hard Rock Bet app that you could get started on today. The NBA's back. Hoops betting. You got North Carolina, Kansas tonight. Get involved in the action there. You could do it on Hard Rock Bet. League's biggest stars. Combine all your picks on a parlay. Up to 20 bets total on a parlay. So there's so many different ways to get involved. Try it today and get up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. That first bet can be a parlay, a prop, the over, whatever you like to bet. Any game you choose, you either win your first bet or get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. It's Hard Rock Bet, offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Now, the line I don't like, based on hearing Fat Jack, is he said when Vegas talks, listen.
Yeah.
That Army -4 now. Now it makes me nervous.
We'll see. Even if they do lose, Colin, what a run. We owed it to them.
We owe it to the troops.
That's the way I look at it.
Might lose the battle.
Dude,
you're going to win the war.
God,
if I know anything about the U.S. troops, they're going to win the war.
They've won I think they've won us 4 punchline picks. We've ridden them this long. We owe it to the troops.
Same with
honestly.
BYU. We owe it to them. We owe it to Indiana.
Yeah, and listen, if this is the week where the wheels fall off, I'll suffer the repercussions. I'll suffer the consequences.
Army, North Texas, like Vietnam. Like, you know what? All right.
Fair enough. We're not going to say we were wrong, but we're going to get out of here.
We're still in World War II. So, the U.S. just got involved, and they're starting to make their way on the Western Front, or the Eastern Front, I should say, in Nazi Germany. That's where we are right now. We just got through to France. This is interesting.
I don't want to make assumptions, but you guys are kind of painting your opponent in a pretty negative light here. This is your coworkers, this is teammates, theoretically speaking.
Are you taking North Texas?
No. But we're going up against you in punchline picks, are we not?
I'm more talking about Army, but I understand.
All right.
You're not Nazi Germany.
Yeah,
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, you're not. But we really, Colin, we're hashtag rolling the dice. We really are. We're rolling the dice with the teams that have gotten us this far.
We love our troops. We love Jake Retzlaff and the Mormon group.
I got a saying that I coined from Terry Francona, former manager of the Guardians. You ride with the horses that got you there. And I'm riding with the Army, riding with BYU. We'll see where it takes us.
Fun program today on a Friday edition, November the 8th of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. We had a whole lot of fun with Tony Rizzo, the really big show on ESPN Cleveland. Big thanks to him for joining us. Big thanks to Mike and Christian Cat. Mike being a good sport with all the stories we were spewing about him to his old man right in front of him.
when the dog comes in, that's when we'll have some fun.
Ooh, this guy's got a turtle.
How about that?
This guy's got a turtle.
Disagree.
Colin is not one to turtle. I will say.
He is a phony. I can't wait. That one's not going to be. That's going to get ugly.
What?
Whole lot of fun. Enjoy the games this weekend. If you want to catch myself and Cade Chumsden on Sunday Huddle, we'll be live 8 a.m. on these very airwaves, breaking down all the lines before the international game on Sunday. It's been Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3, sending you off into the weekend.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day